confirm what was Amumu's biggest fear. It pledged that never shall someone become his friend. It pledged that he shall be alone until his end. Sorrow and despair.
Welcome everyone here to another Casual Esports Amateur League. We have the semifinals tonight from Washed Up One Tricks versus Team Tempest in the semifinals here. And I'm going to be your host tonight, the AMO, and tonight I got with me Groavia. I said that right finally.
Oh yeah.
So, real quick, as this is a match that happened the other night, so we're just going to jump straight into the picks and bans here. And kind of as we see, loaded straight in. So as those of you not as familiar with Team Tempest or Washed Up One Tricks, we have some regulars. These are the top two top laners. TTU Phoenix and Tuba are some of the highest ranked players in our whole league in all of the divisions here. And they are pretty formidable, and they're pretty known for certain champions. So the Rumble for Tuba, and the Alawi for TTU Phoenix. Then we have players like Mayor Wavos to Ashori, Rixie, Sea of Thieves, Numatot. These are people that have been around, and we've kind of got to see them all season long, and we're really excited to see how this playoffs match heads going forward. So Gruavia, real quick, what do you expect to see out of these, this best of 3 series?
Honestly, from Washed Up One Tricks, I mean, they got a Garen and Yumi pick in the bot lane. And if you've been watching the competitive LCS here recently, it's a very formidable bot lane. I mean, Garen just gets so tanky in the late game that it seems like he's just unkillable. And they've also locked in a Zillion. And if Zillion can get his damage early, it's going to be really big for Washed Up One Tricks. And like you said, Phoenix on Alawi, I've heard that it's very formidable, and that's something that Washed Up One Tricks has to really look out for, because if that Alawi gets fed, it could just be game over just like that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of AD carries coming out on the side of Team Tempest with the, Kindred in the jungle and the Tristana in the bot lane versus no AD carries and a full bruiser comp with the Mordekaiser, Olaf, Garen, with the Zillion Yumi supports or damaged, AP carries, depending on how you want to look at it, coming out for Wash Up One Tricks. It's a very, very different team comp. I know that this is what some teams do like to do is run the Kindred, particularly into Gelati's Zillion. I've seen it with hit or miss success, just that constant of being alive and team fighting constantly, trying to go at it. So we will see kind of how that goes, kind of going into it. And real quick, do you want another volume check on yourself? I think you're a little quiet.
Me?
Yep, I'm messing with your volume. That's why just keep talking.
Okay, sweet. Well, I did want to talk about the Zillion just one more time. If that Zillion can get a max E off on either the Tristana or even maybe the Nico, that is really big. You can get a big pick off of that because it's a 99% slow on whoever he puts it on. And so that's really big if we can get it on the Nico or the Tristana. It's a big pick for Washed Up One Tricks. And I feel like that's what's going to be really big for this Zillion this game, is if he can get that slow off.
So as we do go into the match here in just a moment, play styles coming up. Wash Up One Tricks definitely play as a team. Everyone is sitting almost at 60% kill participation as a core group, and actually Rixie is at averaging over 7 CS a minute. So definitely like a carry coming from the bot lane in all aspects, where you have your AD carry kind of lead the charge in your damage, or at least your gold is on your AD carry to lead the charge in the damage in the team fight situation. Kind of in that regards, versus Team Tempest, they're a lot more split push focused with TTU Phoenix with a below 50% kill precipitation at 46%, whereas he also has over a 6.5 CS per minute. So his CS is really high. There's a lot of split pushing coming off from him. So different play styles in that aspect to see how the two teams will clash, kind of going into the team fighting in the later stages of the game. Also, I mean, we can go over the bans here. I mean, Kane, Swain, Pike, Lux, and Elise were banned for One Trick Ponies versus Team Tempest. Took off the Nocturne, Gelati, Morgana, Malzahar, and Oriana. These are, once again, all targeted towards, I mean, they are targeted to their specific individuals. They are not, notice how you don't see, I mean, some of these are meta, or World's meta bans, but I'll notice that a lot of them aren't. They're very specific target picks. I'm actually surprised that One Trick Ponies here allowed Team Tempest and TTU Phoenix onto the Alawi, so I'm actually really excited to see how this goes.
Me too, honestly.
Okay, so we're going to load on over here. We're going to jump straight into the game as we go into the load screen, and then I'll count us down, and we'll go from there. Are you ready, man?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, transitioning over. Now, I'm at 4 seconds. So, when I say go, we're going to start, okay?
All right, just give me 1 second. Having a hard time with my second monitor. Trying to switch this tab over real quick.
No, you're perfectly okay. While we run this down, on the side of washed up One Trick Ponies, they are on the blue side. Tuba's up top on Mordekaiser, Mayor Huevos in the jungle on Olaf, Gelati in the mid lane on the Zillion, Rixie playing the Yuumi carrying Garen, while Bixberg is on the Yuumi cat. I don't know, is Yuumi boy or female cat? Doesn't matter.
I feel like no.
TTU Phoenix on the Alawi, most known for up in top lane. Holvi on the Kindred jungle. Ashori on the Nico mid lane. Numentum on Tristana AD carry. And Sea of Thieves on Blitzcrank support. Whenever you're ready, we will get started off.
Let me go ahead and get to, you said 4 seconds?
4 seconds. Or if you're like at 5 seconds, it's okay. I know it's hard to exactly get to the
All right, I'm
second.
at 4.
Okay.
5.
And we're
7.
off.
Sweet.
Okay, so now I just have to actually make sure that the sound works.
What's going to be really interesting is to see if Team Tempest here is going to go for the invade with this Blitzcrank. It's very notable. Blitzcrank's always looking for the invade with his hook, level 1.
Do you hear game sound?
Yeah.
They are going for the invade here. My game sound is up to 100%, and we are not getting anything game sound. So you just keep on talking.
Sweet. So, it actually looks like they're going to back off the invade here. Honestly, with the Garen Yuumi, I wouldn't want to go for the invade personally. I just feel like there's a lot of either poke and or the healing that comes back from that Yuumi onto the Garen. But they are going to leash his red. Same as for the red side, they're going to leash his blue. Now the real question here is who they guys are very generous leash over to the Olaf. And it looks like the red side's going to go ahead and make it to the bot lane first. Maybe that gives them the level up advantage. Only time can tell there though. Oh, Blitzcrank's going to land a hook on the Garen. And it looks like they're going to go into the engage. The aftershot proc play.
Yeah, the goal for the Garen Yumi lane is to just survive till Yumi can stack up her gold per item and then spend it. Garen is literally just a body for Yumi to get all of her poke off and as much gold as possible. And that's why Garen is so good at this, is because of that natural sustain that he gets in lane.
Mordekaiser's going to be chipping down the Alawi really hard here. Yeah, I think my main focus here is on the Garen Yumi bot lane. I've seen it go extremely well in some circumstances, and I've seen it go extremely bad in others. And I just want to see if One Tricks here can actually pull off a great bot lane with Garen Yumi. Looks like Kindred's be roaming for a gank here up into the top lane. Just to E off.
Will proc the spirit here on the Mordekaiser, who will just get to run around the tower and smack some tentacles here, waiting for the scuttle to spawn. Now I think Olaf wins this, unless of course Alawi comes down. Yeah, Alawi's going to protect. Olaf's just going to go for the blue.
It looks like Nico roamed up there too, just to ensure safety of her Kindred. Looks like Zillion doing some damage here in the mid lane. Looks like Kindred and Nico are going to turn on Olaf, and it looks like Kindred almost did first blood there onto the Olaf. Looks like Blitzcrank's going to go on for the hook. W's coming out from Tristana. Big damage is coming through. But the Ignite cannot take him down enough. That was Blitzcrank's Ignite, and it was a very good engage from Team Tempest here. However, Garen walks away with just a sliver of health.
Yeah, definitely the heal from Yumi, both the actual heal and the ability of the heal up. Really important to keep them alive here in the spot lane. Teleport's going to be able to bring them back in to hopefully not lose too much damage to this tower, but I think the first tower plate is going to go over to Team Tempest here. That's going to be really help accelerate this Tristana through laning phase.
Exactly. If that Tristana can get ahead early, it's going to be really big for Team Tempest. I mean, as we all know, a fed Tristana is the worst if you're on the opposing team. And if Tristana can get ahead early, that's exactly what's going to happen for One Trick.
I just want to point out, while we were kind of in a lull here right quick, the vision throughout the rivers, jungles. Kindred got both of the scuttle crabs. That's really going to help out on her abilities. We have Garen going in here in the bot lane.
And there we go. The flash goes up into Blitzcrank to secure safety. Tristana and Blitzcrank are both pretty low. They're going to have to back here. But a successful gank, I would say, from the Olaf. Being able to apply that pressure in the bot lane gives that Garen Yumi a lot of time to actually farm in the lane, which is what they want to do. Blitzcrank's going to stick around though. He's going to try and protect some turret plates, but it looks like he's not going to be able to, because if he engages, they're just gonna smack them hard up in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I think if I was Blitzcrank, I'd rather want to back with my 80 carry, even if I wasn't able to purchase my fully upgraded the item there, to at least get a pink ward to try and help with the vision, which has now just been cleared out by the Olaf and the Zillion in that jungle. So, I mean, the early pressure from Olaf can definitely mean an early dragon on the side of the One Tricks here. And
looks like Kindred's going to go for a gank, but he's going to get spotted out by vision. Maybe. I mean, if Blitzcrank can land a good hook here, if Blitzcrank would have landed a really good hook there, he could have got the QE off and potentially swayed this in Tempest's favor. However, Kindred did get spotted out by a ward, and it signaled Garen Yumi to just get out of dodge as soon as possible.
Definitely looks like this Kindred's going to stick around here in the spot lane, trying to keep the pressure up. Realize that ganking top lane is kind of not very feasible. Both these top laners, the Alawi and the Mordekaiser, can be considered some of the best 1v2ers in the game. So while we're spending a lot of time watching this bot lane here on the cams, it's because they can't really go and affect top lane, right? Ganking into an Alawi at 6 or ganking into Mordekaiser at 6 is really detrimental for the jungler. They're focused onto the middle lane and the bot lane, and with the mid lane having a Zillion and self ult, it basically means Kindred is 100% has to gank the bot lane, and that's going to, being so direct with the ganks, gives the one trick advantage. The one trick Ponies the advantage.
Exactly, and right, and if one trick Ponies can actually keep good vision up in their jungle, especially right there in that river brush right there in that tri-bush, then they can successfully evade a gank. Even now, with no vision,
there's the pull,
but it looks like he's going to fall to the Tristana's first blood with the E. Looks like Team Tempest is going to get first blood, and they're going to go ahead and get a double kill on the Tristana by using turret diving. Olaf is going to engage onto the Kindred. He's going to pop ulti. It looks like Olaf actually wins that exclusive trade right there.
Yeah,
so
even being down the level, that's the advantage of Olaf, the ability to heal up coming from the passive, the extra attack speed that gets as well just much damage. Kindred not as squishy as we do have the top laners going into tank form.
Mordekaiser is going to fall to the Alawi. Mordekaiser even popped it. They both popped their ultis there in that team fight. I didn't catch it, but I don't know if Mordekaiser ultied after Alawi ulti, because that's really big from Mordekaiser. I feel like if he would have done that, because those tentacles won't transfer into the Shadow Realm. So if she pops her ulti, and then he Shadow Realms, those tentacles don't follow, and the ulti is technically just null and void. It's not there anymore. I don't know if that's exactly what happened or not, but the Mordekaiser is going to fall to Phoenix's Alawi. A little bit of action in the top lane, what I wanted to see. Looks like Blitzcrank can be sitting here in the river brush, maybe looking for a good pick on, hopefully, what they're really wanting is a good pick on the Yuumi. So if they can get it on the Yuumi before she attaches, then they can pick the Garen off easily. Yuumi's going to come out with the ultimate, he's going to root the Tristana. Blitzcrank's going to Q and E. Garen's going to go ahead and lay down the Tristana with his ulti. And that there is the power of the Garen right there. Yuumi roots him. Garen does all the damage with his Q and his E, and then when they're below 50% HP, he just gets to pop his ulti, and bada boom, bada bing, there's a free kill for the Garen. And I just think that's what could be super strong with the Garen and Yuumi if played correctly, and I believe that One Trick Ponies has actually played that really well. Blitzcrank came out of the brush, Sun coming out from the Lily in the mid lane, flash from the Nico. But yeah, that was just a beautiful execution down the bot lane by the game.
Well, I mean, she flashed instantly because Olaf was Ragnarocking in to try just space off. Once you get a double kill in the bot lane or control of this lane, they wanted to make sure that it didn't get over on the Kindred, who has only successfully gotten one mark at 10 minutes. So that's not very successful as we have fight down here still.
Looks like Olaf's going to come in, but Sean's going to W away, and Kindred's going to just go ahead and get some poke out on them. Zillion missed the stun there, and honestly, as a Zillion player myself, it can get so hard to hit that stun. Hitting QWQ in the same position, trying to track the other player's movement, can be extremely hard sometimes, especially in a very intense situation or a very pressured situation, in which I'm sure both of these teams are in. So the performance by the Zillion has been really good so far, considering the circumstances he's been put in. I mean, he's facing a Nico, super stun heavy, and she can do a lot of damage early game if she plays the cards right. I think the Zillion's playing really good, and it can get hard to those QWQ combos, but he's playing really good so far.
Yeah, with the Nico and the Kindred, even Tristana a little bit, you have the ability to dodge, or a movement ability to get you out of the double stun of the double bonds coming out. Even technically, I guess Alawi, if she perfectly times it, can use her leap to slip out of that. So landing a double stun is going to be particularly hard for the Zillion, but really this is just going to be more of a make sure that once they get to S5, running in as a group and just powering through.
Looks like Kindred's going to get caught out right here by the Olaf here in the river bush. Looks like Kindred's just going to fall to their huevos on Olaf here. That was just perfect place, perfect time. I mean, he was sitting there on his own control ward, just waiting. and he knew that the Kindred was going to show up. And it looks like they're going to secure a dragon off of this. This is really big for One Tricks, and they're going to secure a Mountain Drake.
Yeah, so the Mountain Drake, they don't have any AD carries. They need as much damage as possible to structures to actually win the game. You actually have to take towers to have that happen. Also, we talked a little bit on it earlier, the fact that Mayor Huevos knew that no one's going to gank the top laners. The top laners are fighting this out, as we can't actually see in the Death Realm as flash out by Tuba there.
Looks like Olaf is now going to fall to the Kindred. Olaf is getting a little greedy there in her jungle, and Blitzcrank roamed around at the right time. Got a hook and E off, and Kindred is going to secure the kill onto the Olaf. Anyways, continue as you were saying. I apologize.
Oh, I was just saying, well, I was watching the top laners fight. Tuba did win that. Then that 1v1. So, well, death's happening all across the map there. Just, we know that Kindred isn't going to go top to try and gank that lane. Ganking mid lane is particularly hard as well because of the Zillion, so we know that Kindred is going to want to focus around the bottom half of the map. So that Olaf laying in wait was successful the first time at killing the Kindred, but then stuck around too much after the dragon was not successful or got picked off that time around. So, you know, the same thought happened for both teams.
Exactly, and another big thing for One Tricks here, actually, not only did they secure the Mountain Drake for themselves, but they also denied a Mountain Drake for one of the strongest pushers in the game, which is Tristana with her Buster Blast shot. She gets the Mountain on, and she can throw an E on a turret and fully max out that E. That's detrimental for a turret, so they've actually denied that Tristana the opportunity to get extreme pushing power with her E, and that's really going to be big for Team One Trick.
As we kind of just look at the gold here, as tower plates have fallen off at the 14-minute. They were slightly, I think, in favor of Team Tempest, with the top lane getting, I think, 2 or 3, bot lane getting 3, versus the mid lane only getting 2 or 3 for the side of One Trick Ponies. So at 14 minutes of tower plates coming off, it looks like they looks like we got an invade here on the blue.
It does look like the Nico's going to go for Olaf's blue buff, but he might just be around to catch her out. Or he's just going to walk right past her. Maybe he can spot her on a ward. But it looks like he's going to be wrapping around, making sure that she has to go farther into their jungle or their turret to get away. As a fight, I was so focused on that jungle pressure there that a fight in the top lane broke out, and Phoenix took the kill onto the Mordekaiser. It looks like Kindred is going to pick up another kill onto the Olaf, and Zillion's here to respond. However, he misses the double bomb stun. Yuumi is going to come out with the ultimate here, and Garen is going to get ulted away by the Tristana. Looks like 2 ults so far. She's going to land on the Tristana. And it looks like they're both going to walk away. No deaths. Honestly, here in the mid lane, we were talking about the mid lane earlier. The mid lane has been pretty stagnant as far as kill to death ratio. I mean, they both are 0-0. I mean, Zillion 0-0-0 and Nico 0-0-1. But the CS difference is actually pretty big. Zillion getting 147 and Nico getting 108. But I understand that because Zillion double bomb on the back wave or even on the front wave, you can clear out waves extremely fast, push it into Nico's turret, and Nico has a hard time, can have a hard time farming that turret. Looks like Garen's going to get the engage on the Garen's going to get the engage on the Blitzcrank. He's just going to flash out.
So there was a teleport to the around the Rift Herald pit to try and prevent the Rift from going down, and that's why Olaf got cut off earlier. He was trying to make sure Rift wasn't going down, so he took the long way around to his blue buff. And now we have the teleport going back in here, and here comes Alawi down onto the Garen Yuumi.
Let's see what's going on here. If Alawi can potentially get an E off or maybe her ulti, in close range with him, then that's perfect for the Alawi. However, Yumi's Q provides such a heavy slow onto anything that it hits, so it's going to be really hard for that Alawi. Considering she's a bruiser, she's already super slow as it is. If Yumi can land a Q, then that just makes her that much slower. And it looks like she has not built Merc Treasure Skin, she'll Revenge of Tabby. So, I mean, even then, you're not getting any of that tenacity from those boots.
Mordekaiser was able to counter with, or no, I guess the mid lane. Gelati, nice job taking down the mid lane tower here. Now with everyone down here, Nico does not have teleport, so cannot join if they chose to fight over this Fire Drake here. We see just some vision coming out. Alawi is going to go for the pull. Let's see if she ults out. Teleport in, is coming in by the Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser's going to keep in, and it looks like Zillion can ulti himself to get back into the fight. Alawi only comes through extremely bunching of tentacles onto the field. And it looks like it's just a 1v4 now. Mordekaiser's going to try and flash away, but he's going to eventually fall to the Tristana. And that secures an Infernal Drake for
That was just an excellent job of team fighting on the side of Team Tempest here. They were able to set it up. I mean, they were able to get the Zillion out super early, and when Zillion's coming back from stasis from the dead, or reviving there, they were able to set up around Alawi with the tentacles, TTU Phoenix putting on an absolute show. Mordekaiser had teleported into the Dragon Pit, just came out of the Dragon Pit, was able to ulti in, it looked like, onto the Tristana, but Tristana with that, her ultimate is able to push Mordekaiser away, prevent any real damage from happening, and then when Mordekaiser finally comes out of that ultimate status, the Zillion's already gone down. There's no AD carry on the side of One Trick Ponies. They're all melee champions except for the Yuumi. They all have to run in there. They're all running into the Alawi tentacles, which are just slapping everyone across the face. It is absolutely crushing it. And with that Fire Drake now, Team Tempest is taking a really strong advantage going into this mid game.
Yeah, and it looks like down there in the mid lane, they popped the Rift Herald down there in the mid lane, but the turret did not fall. Team One Trick was able to respond cordially, and they got the Rift Herald down before it did enough damage to take down their turret. And it looks like we're back down here in the bot lane. Again, Blue Trick's going to land the hook. The Yuumi ulti is going to come out, but Olaf is also here on the revive. And Jillian is here as well. Almost the whole team is here for it. Tristana is going to pop off with stopwatch, and looks like the stun is going to come off, and Olaf is going to get the kill onto the Tristana. A successful gank by Team One Tricks. As we've seen multiple times, I mean, this Olaf team is so strong. And it looks like he's on the right track to getting there, 3-3-0. I mean, Olaf pops Ragnarok, and nothing can stop him. And that's going to be super big for Team One Trick. I mean, they're just going to be able to pull off these games and these team fights. And Olaf is going to be able to do the damage that he needs to do in the appropriate amount of time before anybody is able to fall on Team One Trick.
Yeah, even though One Tricks were down in gold after that last dragon fight, they took their advantage because the separation of Team Tempest, because they had separated their top laner. Lawi had gone back up to the top lane. Kindred had gone back to farming, and we see the top laners duking it out here in the Shadow Realm as they fighting each other. It looks like TTU Phoenix is actually going to win that one yet again, waiting until he gets pulled into that realm.
The Shadow Realm.
Yeah. Oh, great ult on Kindred. And the flash.
I mean, yeah. Alawi waited until she got entered into the Shadow Realm to pop her ulti, and that's super huge. I feel like that's who won that trade. I mean, because Mordekaiser ulti her under her first of all, and then second of all, I mean, he's closer to his turret than she is. And so that gives Mordekaiser the advantage here because he's closer to his turret and he can potentially get more turret shots off on the Alawi. But the Alawi waited, was patient, and she was able to pop her ulti right after she entered into the Shadow Realm, which gives her an extreme advantage in that fight, and that's what ultimately led for her to win that extended trade there.
The key is though that the pulling, right? So Alawi was able to E the Mordekaiser in the Shadow Realm because there's no minions, right? And you're standing right next to each other. You get a point and click pull. So then you have, when you're hitting it, you're getting bonus damage and lifesteal that Mordekaiser is not blocked up against yet. So you're healing up while you're dealing damage. So it's just allowing to be the better bruiser split pusher here, whereas the group of four is kind of running a little bit in the bottom half. The top lane, TTU Phoenix is doing an excellent job up against Tuba here, and really, you know, controlling this map as we see another fight breaking out here maybe.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to look at each other here in the river. They both went from the mid lane to the river, circling around Baron. Potentially thinking about a Baron play here at 20. For Team Tempest, I think it's totally possible. I feel like they do have the damage there. As well as one trick. I mean, they have Olaf, but
I think they're giving up advantage to mid lane tower, and I think that's a bad decision.
Looks like Garen and Yumi are going to be the first to respond there. Looks like he's going to take the Blackstone over, which is very smart. Nico is going to come out with ulti, and it looks like Olaf's going to fall here on the cloud. It looks like Garen's going to be going in. No heal. I think Yumi has no heals left on the Yumi, but it's really impossible to down the Garen. But he's going to be caught out from the entire team. Ulti's going to come out from Kindred, just to make sure, I guess, that none of his teammates actually died in that fight. But that's the one downside to Zillion, is that that's the one side. The one downside to Zillion is that when ultis one of his teammates or himself, he's going to be put into that stasis. And if that's in a big team fight, that's going to give that entire team the time to circle around the person that was put in the stasis and ultimately kill them in the end game.
Well, picked up Dragon on the side of Team Tempest. They definitely had the idea. I mean, when you have Kindred and Tristana, you're able to take Baron relatively quickly, and the one trick were unable to, did not properly judge how fast the Baron was going to go down, and then them being all melee, basically, even, you know, Yumi, because she's riding a melee champion, to get into that team fight just took them way too long, especially because the Blitzcrank had taken that blast cone, as we see TV Phoenix getting overstuffed here, but goes in with the ult.
Allowing ultimate here is just coming out on top every single time. Phoenix just knows when to pop the ulti. I mean, he waited until Olaf and Mordekaiser were both on top of him, and he was able to actually, or Garen, I believe, were both on top of him. He was able to pop that ulti, get more tentacles out, and he just comes out on top every single time that he plays that ulti. And I think that's why he's so infamous for his allowing.
Yeah, and definitely an excellent team fight, as we saw Nementom on the side there as Tristana, getting able to just free fire on all the melee champions here, absolutely crushing it, able to succeed. And with that, I mean, you're going to be able to take one inhibitor, probably going to be able to take the second one here before the full team is up from one trick here, although it's a nice stun. I don't think it's going to particularly matter, as Team Tempest have a real, I guess they're not going to push for it. But
they decided they were going to play safe, but they've gotten one, and they got killed out of that last fight. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them actually not going for that second. It would have been a completely nice and a big advantage for them if they got the second hit, but they came out completely on top with the one in. They cracked the base, and it was a smart play by them, being able to just reset and head back into their jungle or back into the lane, farm up a little bit more, and then just wait for the next engage on the next fight.
And that's the thing, is they have to be engaged upon. While they can get picks with the Blitzcrank, with the Alawi, you want to be the one set up tentacles and have the kind of team running into you. Kindred with the ultimate, the same. Nico is a great zoning with her ultimate to zone the team fight, and depending on how they want to fight that one out. And so the melee champions, well, they have to run in, right? I mean, Olaf has to go in, Mordekaiser has to go in, Garen has to go in. They don't have much choice. So setting the grounds or the area where you're the ones dictating where the team fight is being happened at, because you can set up the better vision, because you have the control right now. You're just putting Team Tempest in such a good position that it's not going to allow one-trick ponies to really come back unless there's some great individual plays in the next team fight.
Exactly, and now so what can one-trick ponies do here? Getting an isolation is going to be the best. If they can find a Tristana that is by herself, even if it's highly unlikely, if they can find her by herself, maybe getting a 3v1 on the Alawi, which is probably what it's going to take to drop the Alawi at the 7 point. Derek and Darren escapes Black Clover and Spirit on the Alawi. I mean, that's probably what it's going to take is almost a full team in order to take out Alawi. And the full team is going to go on her. I mean, she is going to come out on top, potentially with her ultimate. And it's just huge. Her ultimate can use everything. And it looks like Kindred is going to crack the base once again with that top lane inhibitor. It looks like the rest of the team is going to be pushing up. Now, what I would be doing here if I was Wonder Ponies, they saw the Kindred going for the inhib, and they saw the other 4 of them in the bot lane, I would have immediately ran to that top inhib.
They're engaging.
Looks like they're going to be engaging with Yumi ultimate, and Nico ultimate is going to also come out. Looks like it's going to fall to Olaf. And Tristana there, heavy but large enough. Auto attack with the range that he has. Florida has going to come down here to the death, and it looks like all 4 of them are going to walk away except for the Blitzcrank, who tragically fell to the Olaf. Olaf actually also fell as well.
And that's just the great team fighting from Team Tempest, that just being so far ahead. The Tristana with the actual physical range advantage, just absolutely crushing that team fight. It didn't matter how well Olaf and then we're able to get that pick off on the Blitzcrank. And I mean, when Tuba comes in on Mordekaiser, he has to pick one Fed member on the enemy team to take them out of the fight to give his other 4 members a chance. This time he picked the Alawi yet again, and so Alawi just beats on him in the Shadow Realm, while the other 4 members of his team get absolutely crushed by the 3 long-range auto attackers. Great Yumi ult, or not Yumi ult, Nico ult to once again zone the engage. Now Olaf's the only one that can actually make it through that engage. I mean, Yumi tried to do a counter ult on the counter engage, but it's just not enough, as he's not really laying any of that CC onto the whole team here. Whereas, Tristana is being able to pick off on one side, or Nico able to snare him up on the other. Kindred, of course, doing some of that range DPS as well. As Baron's coming up here. It's pretty much going to be set here, I think, for Team Tempest to secure this Baron and then push home for the win.
Exactly, and Team Tempest also picked up another Infernal Drake that's going to give them a lot of extra damage. And, yeah, looks like they're going to go ahead. They absolutely melt this Baron when he sits on it. No Mountain Drake. I bet they would have better if they got the Mountain Drake in the early game, but it looks like they don't even need it. At this point, they've cracked all 3 inhibs. They've got Baron. All they're really looking for now is a big group in the mid lane, run it down with empowered Baron, empowered Baron minions. They should be able to crack this base potentially. If I was One Trick Ponies, I'd be looking for the defense. I'd be looking to play all defense here. Maybe trying to get a pick there, here or there if you could.
You have to try and keep this inhibitor pretty much up as long as possible. I know you said you would want to try and fight as possible, but they're going to go in here and allow us to pop the bolt this.
Yeah, Garen's going to try and run away. He's got ignited. Son is there, right there. Nico comes down with ultimate, but there's nobody. Dillian can ult himself. But like I said earlier, after he's out of that, well, actually he's going to get away here. My point proven, or not proven. Looks like they're going to 100% crack the base. Looks like the next is going to fall. And it looks like Tempest is going to take the dub on the first game.
So that was pretty exciting first game. We get to see TTU Phoenix and show why he's so terrifying on that Alawi up in the top lane. Absolutely crushing it up there to break things down that way. And then the bot lane, just the range advantage, and they couldn't keep the advantage that they had sustained a little bit early game, but the all melee champions just having to run into that wall just absolutely didn't allow the best chance for One Trick Ponies here to come out with the win, right? I think the team comp just didn't fully allow them to succeed the most optimally.
Exactly. I mean, they picked a majority melee champions, and like in the bot lane, we've got Garen Uni, which can be extremely strong and formidable. But Tristana's got a range advantage there, and Blitzcrank can, even if Tristana didn't have a range advantage, Blitzcrank can land a hook and get you right there on top of Tristana. So, I mean, with the with the range advantage, I mean, Tristana just wins extended trades because Garen can't even get close to her without taking a bunch of damage before he gets there. But nonetheless, an exciting game from both Team Tempest and One Trick Ponies. They both played their heart out in this first game, and I mean, we could totally see it. I mean, there were beautiful plays from both sides. One Trick Ponies Olaf played phenomenally, looking for the strong gank, sitting there waiting, knowing where the Kindred was going to be. And likewise with the Kindred, she had a bunch of very good ultimates during the majority of the in-game team fights, and it was, pretty much Alawi doing the most damage she could, and then Tristana coming in and being able to clean up, as well as Team Tempest. Their Blitzcrank was very good at landing the hooks and initiating when he needed to. The ultimates from him were also very well timed, and I believe, honestly, what led to Team Tempest winning this first game was the range advantage, the early game, securing those Barons and Dragons, which is super important for their team. If only it was a Mountain Drake that the Tristana had gotten her hands on, we would be maybe talking about this even sooner. But the sieging power of Team Tempest was extremely prevalent, and it gives Team One Trick Ponies a chance to actually see what they're all about and get a zone on what they need to do better in the second game.
And with that, we will send it to intermission, and then we will work on trying to get the next VOD set up. So thank you very much, and we will be back here in just a few minutes, so don't go away, anyone. Welcome back, everyone. Relatively short break because we don't have to wait for anyone. We just got to wait on myself, the AMO, and Groavia. I mispronounced it. I'm sorry.
No, you got it perfect, man. You got it perfect.
Groavia. We are back for game number 2 here between Team Tempest and Washed Up One Tricks. Trick Ponies. Their name is so ridiculously long. I probably should just start calling them a Woot and TT Woot, something like that. So, you for your first cast for doing a casual ELL here, you got to see one of the best top laners in the league on his signature champion, the Alawi. Here's a hint.
And
for game number 2, you get to see like the other best top laner on his signature champion, Tuba on Rumble.
I mean, watching the Alawi get to play in the last game was extremely exciting. Just seeing those huge team fight ultis, and I'm really excited to see Tuba on his Rumble.
Yeah, so that's kind of, or I just wanted to mention that right off the bat before we got any much further here into the pick ban phase. What is that on the? Is that a? Oh my gosh, that's an adorable little weird corky skin. For some reason, Pro Draft Tools have taken on weird skins, because that's not the skin he plays in game. For the 10th anniversary for League. So even Pro Draft Tool has been celebrating League of Legends 10th year anniversary this month. You can also see the Morgana with a special icon on the Pro Draft Tool. So that's kind of interesting. Not talking, just kind of in general, going on for. It's not on the screen. It's not on this one. That's weird. It's on mine. Maybe it's just select skins whenever you load up. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the distraction, about the cool things. Team Tempest going back with a extremely similar team comp as game 1 with the Nico mid lane, Kindred in the jungle, a top laner that can 1v2 and play extremely defensively, a hook bot lane champion that's kind of tanky. And this time, instead of the Tristana, they went with the Ashe. So a little bit more pick potential coming outside of Team Tempest. On the side of Woot there, they are going with the Rumble up top. Once again, can do the 2v1. The Ezreal Yuumi bot lane, so double poke versus the Jarvan and Corki. So a lot more range on the side of Woot this game instead of being all melee. How do you think that works?
I think it'll hopefully work in their favor. I think they saw that the almost full melee comp didn't really work out when they're playing against such as Tristana and Kindred and Nico. But the Ashe coming out from Team Tempest could be a big thing for Wuot, because I mean that's, like you said, big pick potential there. I mean, there's no W to get you out of a situation. There's no ulti to throw you away. I mean, her ulti does stun, but I just don't think it'll be enough if she does get caught out to get her out.
Yeah, and we just sort of touched on it. It does look like what did ban out the Alawi this time around, but still sticking with the Kayn and Swain bans, whereas the exact same bans coming out of Team Tempest, so they're going with what's not broken, don't fix it, and their comp pretty much goes along the same line. So I'm pretty excited to get into this. I think we touched on how Team Tempest would be successful at winning this game, basically is how successful they were at winning last game. Woo, completely different team comp. They are now all ranged except for the Jarvan, who is got the Flag and Drag Cataclysm, so he can come in from an very extended distance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a completely different game here. Just the range is going to be really big, and I think Wuot understands that, and I think they respect that, and they have changed their team comp.
Definitely in the same style, though, but we'll definitely see once again, Team Tempest, they go around their solo lane, is not top lane. TTU Phoenix not very involved in kill participation. Was very highly involved in kill participation last game, but normally is not so high. Whereas we got better as a 5v5 team fighting comp, and I think this one's a little bit more agile in their team fighting, a little bit more less straightforward and run at you than their last comp. So I want to see how this plays off. They play a little bit more with some pokes. So I'm ready to load on in if you are.
I think I am. I'm at 4 seconds.
You're at 4 seconds? Okay, I'm going to count down from 5 and then back up as my timer goes up, okay?
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we are in. And real quick, apparently last game the volume on the game chat was ridiculously loud, and they didn't get to hear our nice voices. Chat, please tell me if that is the same for this one, because I cannot hear anything.
Real quick, what time are you actually at? Right
26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Seconds until minions spawn.
So on the side of TTU Phoenix is up top on the Mordekaiser for Team Tempest. We have Holvi on the Jungle Kindred, Shori on the Nico in the mid lane, Numentum on AD carry Ash, and CFDs on the not the Blitzcrank, the Nautilus this time on support. For one trick here, they got Tuba up top on the signature Rumble, Mayor Huevos on the Jarvan in the jungle, Gelati playing Corky in the mid lane, Rixay on Ezreal bot lane, and Brixby on the Yuumi support. Are you get timed up?
I think so.
I'm at 121, 22, 23, 24. I didn't stop.
I'm at 31.
Oh,
I do not hear. I'll just pause it for a second.
okay.
You count up.
35, 36, 37, 8.
Yeah, we're timed out.
Okay, super. So, red buffs have just been passed off, and we go to lane here.
We're seeing the Corky come through in the mid lane versus the Nico. I don't know how that's really going to go. I don't know much about that
Top
matchup.
lane.
Looks like top lane is going to be getting a gank. It looks like TTU Phoenix is going to fall to the Jarvan First Blood, level 2 gank.
Well, that's terrifying. You've just given First Blood over, I know, to the enemy jungler, but at the same time, you've given it over to Tuba on Rumble. So Rumble's going to be pretty strong here going in.
And it looks like there's going to be an engage in the bot lane. The flash is going to come out from the Ezreal, but it looks like the Ignite is also going to be coming out from the Nautilus. They're both going to walk away here. And I believe that Yuumi has the heals there to potentially get the Ezreal up. Back up to somewhat full health.
And it did sound like the sound volume's a little loud still on the stream, so I'm just adjusting that. Sorry about that. There's just a lot of poke from this Ezreal Yuumi bot lane that, as long as they don't get all in, they should be fine.
Speak about an all-in. Got a root and a Q coming out from the Nautilus. Both going to walk away, though. The Kindred is going to be ganking the Rumble here, but Rumble's going to turn and deal an insane amount of damage back to the Kindred for 3 minutes into the game, which was insane. And that Kindred thought twice about ganking the Rumble.
Yeah, that's the overheat coming at you. That extra burn damage from the Fire Spitter is probably just powering right on through whatever Kindred can't sustain yet. Doesn't have any real items to really squishy in this early game. Although I think she is going to get her first mark here on that that top scuttle. So an okay start for the Kindred.
So the Ezreal Yuumi bot lane, they're really not looking to win the bot lane necessarily, are they?
They can look to win the bot lane, but I think once again, I think they're going to expect a lot of focus here. Once soon as the the jungler action comes back down here, The trying to gank Corki in the mid lane is relatively hard. Once again, Kindred already saw what happens if she doesn't get off a great gank up top into the Rumble, and so both Jarvan's going to want to come down here and get this set up so support back. So the bot lane is in a position here as the fight in mid.
Right, and it looks like the extended trades coming out from the Rumble are coming out in his favor.
Right, so the bot lane wants to poke and then set up so the gank from the Jarvan can happen in bot lane. They don't want to be pushed up too far top.
Engage from the Mordekaiser. His passive can do an extreme amount of damage in the early game here. As you can see, it's just ticking Rumble away, his health away. But they're both going to walk away. But it looks like Mordekaiser did win that extended fight. So honestly, if Mordekaiser can look to get his passive ticks going, I think we'll be just fine here in the top lane against Tuba. But Tuba seems to be, so far, a formidable opponent in the top lane with Rumble.
Now the back here is going to be very well for just straight buys the Sork boots. Now, is choosing, is going to teleport back to lane. So that's going to, whatever, Mordekaiser was doing before, the penetration, that early pen is going to be so strong in this lane. It's not even going to help with the minions, but definitely help with the Mordekaiser, just really kind of crush the top lane here.
Yeah, a lot of focus here on the bot lane. It looks like they're just farming up. Ashe has a 2 CS lead, and I think Ezreal's just wanting to get clapped up here. He's wanting to just farm up, get his mana mute, or Iceborne Gauntlet, whichever one he decides to go. Those are the two you can go, in my personal opinion. And one of those two he's probably going to be going, and just scale as much as he can.
Kindred may gank here in mid.
It does look like she's peeking for a gank, and it looks like the Corki does not see her. She's not spotted out by a ward. Corki's going to W away. And look to trade back a little bit. Nico's going to miss the E right there. And Corki is going to be brought below a quarter health. That's one of the things about Corki I've always thought about is if he's getting ganked, he can just W away. So maybe looking for...
Oh no, Tuba!
They might have a pick here on the Tuba.
I don't think that's a pick on Tuba. I think that's a pick by Tuba.
On the Nico. Oh, he got the clone though, and it is the pick on Tuba. Oh, got the pick on Tuba.
Okay. Okay.
That was an emotional roller coaster. It looks like Mordekaiser's going to look for a pick on the Jarvan, but he's just going to flag and drag away.
I don't think so. If Tuba flashes into your tower, I don't really know if that's correct that you got the pick on Tuba. Now, the Nico outplay was great, right? It was honestly. And allowing that was what really set that up. So whatever lead Rumble had in the top lane has been kind of dissipated as Mordekaiser got to go back to lane and farm it up, and that time off the map means not pressure. Especially when you hand a kill over to the enemy jungler and an assist to the mini mid laner. Kind of rough there. Almost a great outplay.
It really almost was. That was insane. I mean, that was like an emotional roller coaster just right there. It was insane. That Nico clone though, man. That Nico clone.
So TTU Phoenix's teleport is almost back up on Mordekaiser. I'm going to want to see him actually get his buy off here and walk up to top lane, as we have a full engage here down on the bot lane by
full engage from the Nautilus here. Kindred's going to come to follow up. He's going to pop the ulti, but the ulti is missed. And Jarvan's going to come through with the flag and drag and the flash. He's going to hop onto the Jarvan. And Rixie is going to pick up the kill onto the Kindred. But it looks like Mordekaiser is going to use the teleport, like you said, coming down into the bot lane. And he's going to get an engage off on the enemy bot lane. He's going to get a pick onto the Jarvan, I believe. And he's going to get a double kill onto the Ezreal. He's still going in. He's going in after the Corki. And he just wouldn't stop. What was that, a 3 for 1?
Yeah, 3 for 2 because they killed Kindred, so...
Okay, so 3 for 2?
Yeah, 3 for 2.
In the favor of...
Team Tempest.
What was that, Team Tempest?
Team Tempest, yeah. The teleport had just came up on the side of the Mordekaiser to absolutely turn that fight around as Rumble is going to walk into this one now. It's just the two. Oh, no, the Wombo
The
comes.
ult's going to be coming down. Hit the Corky. He's going to also hit him with the root, and it looks like Nico's going to get the pick out onto the Corky. But Rumble is still going in. The flag and drag comes out from the Jarvan. Jarvan looks like he's going to get caught out right here, and another kill is going to drop onto the Jarvan for the Mordekaiser.
Well, this is an extremely bloody game so far.
Extremely. Got a 7-4 here.
I mean, it went very quickly, very fast down here in the bot lane. Tuba, like, walked from top lane all the way down the bot lane to pick up a kill to then get killed himself.
I mean, Mordekaiser put the sauce on that teleport.
Oh, yeah. That was an excellent teleport. And like I said, I was just saying, it just came up right as before the engage happened. I was like, pick up your boots, walk back to top lane because the Dragon team fight's going to be coming up. As soon as the teleport came up, see if these engage just like right now.
Looks like Nautilus is going to go ahead and throw his ulti onto the Ezreal, but Ezreal's going to, I don't know if he flashed or, no, it looks like he phase walked away and got far enough away to where Mordekaiser could not complete the engage. And yeah, looking at the vision on the map, I don't see much.
No, it all expires. Corky comes in here with the package.
And the ult is going to come out from the Ashe. It looks like Ricky is going to pick up the kill onto the Nautilus. Huge gank coming in from Corky with package. That's a big deciding factor when you get package with Corky. Like, what are you going to do with it? He was proactive, went to the bot lane, tower dove, and it came out on top for Ricky.
Yeah, and as you said, mentioned the vision. The vision was actually all in the river on the side of both teams. As we see Rumble in the Jarvan just absolutely crushing this top lane.
Honestly, Mordekaiser, but his W just keeps on proccing. And it looks like the Rift Herald's going to join the fight for just a little bit, but it looks like Mordekaiser is going to get a double kill onto Tuba and Huevo.
So they couldn't kill Mordekaiser before he took the jungler into the Shadow Realm. And this is why it's so hard to gank these two champions up here in the top lane, is because they take a 2v1 and turn it into a 1v1 in their particular favor. Specifically with the Alawi in last game and now the Mordekaiser in this game, TTU Phoenix is doing an excellent job of controlling this lane. And with the 5-1 and 2 lead and the 500 gold bounty here, getting over the Rift Herald yet again for TTU Phoenix. Or TT is the Team Tempest, and they have TTU Phoenix, and that's a tongue twister. But bot lane they're fighting all the time down here.
Oh no, they just won't stop with the engage. Ignite's going to be dropped by the Nautilus, but it looks like Yumi's just going to attach and stay safe as long as she can with that low of health. The Ignite did not kill. I mean, TTU Phoenix has showed up once again on the Mordekaiser. And I mean, I thought TTU Phoenix was going to fall there in that last fight, but he pulled it out. I mean, the W for Mordekaiser just is insane, I think. I think it's personally insane on the champion. Just base.
He's definitely doing an excellent job here. So with a minute 30 left, we'll see where Nico looks like she wanted to come down here and roam, mainly because I think they want to try and get this Rift Herald spawn in the bot lane and maybe take down that tower. It does have 5 plates left on it. Last game, there are a lot of plates going down across all the lanes. This game, there's only 2 plates taken, and they're both on Ezreal. And the Ezreal True Shot Barrage come out there does show Nico in the bot lane, so they know Kindred's down there. Rumble gonna go in top lane.
Ulti's gonna come out from the Rumble. Nico's ulti is gonna come out as somewhat of a countermeasure. Ulti's gonna come out from the Nautilus, but ulti's also gonna be coming out from the Root. I don't know if a Root landed from that, but it looks like Kindred is gonna pick up the kill from the Tribush. It looks like she's gonna go for the double kill here with her ulti, making her vulnerable to the turret shots. But here comes Jarvan right here with Flag and Drag. Smite. Slowly walk away, and then secures the kill from Huevos.
And that's an excellent job by Huevos. Making it down there just in time, but because killing Kindred means Kindred cannot drop the Rift Herald. If Kindred would have been able to drop the Rift, that would have been 5 plates for TT down in the bot lane, and that would have set this game completely on edge. Right now they're on basically a 1k gold difference, but 5 plates going on those 3 members down the bot lane would have absolutely turned around the gold difference, which does right now have Ezreal ahead of the Ashe. Even though Ashe is 1-0-5, there's the CS and the Klepto difference, and that just making sure that Kindred couldn't. The gold swing is so strong there. Now the only thing they can get is just first tower with it, and that while that's still good usage of the Rift Herald, it's not the most optimal usage of the Rift Herald. And if they want to, really super snowball this game out of 2 lanes, both top and bot right now, it could have been basically the end of the game.
Exactly, and I mean, you were talking about the gold difference between Ashe and Ezreal. I mean, Ezreal. They both have their first item. Ashe has a Bork, and Ezreal has his Mana. But Ezreal also has a Quicksilver Sash and a Steam, but it looks like the ulti is going to come out from the Nautilus. And it looks like they're both just going to walk like Flash coming out from the Nautilus as well. Really looking to kill. There's the ulti. I apologize. A little preemptive there. Looks like Ashe is going to get a double kill. Was that a double kill? Or was that just a single? They both got one? They both got one. Down the ball lane on the Ezreal. As I was speaking about, Ezreal has a Quicksilver Sash as well, which is super big for all of the flag dragon. Oh, speaking of, Jarvan is coming with the flag dragon. Rumble's ulti is going to come out, and Corki is just going to follow up on the engage, and it looks like everybody is going to walk away safe and sound so far here in the top lane, but it doesn't look like they're leaving just yet. Looks like Jarvan's going to wrap around.
Ezreal tried to teleport down to the bot lane while all that shenanigan was happening, and the tower got dropped before Ezreal could complete the teleport. So, 2 champions would have showed up, Ezreal and Yuumi, but that means that the teleport's down on the side of Ezreal, and with all these towers going over, there's just the mid lane left remaining on the side of One Trick here. That's their one spot to defend. Versus, TT, they're just going to probably look to take another dragon here and set on up. They have multiple gold bounties on their members. The spot lane, while being slightly behind, has definitely controlled it. They found the all-ins by the Nautilus enough times to crush that lane now. And it's not just an objective of taking over this mid and trying to push in for vision and then get set up for the Baron.
Exactly. I mean, when you break it down, honestly, I mean, Wuat is just trying. Wuat is really just trying to.
They have to defend, right? So, I mean,
Exactly.
they have Rumble, who hasn't got to a single item yet. I mean, Boots is great, but it's not actually an item. Versus the Mordekaiser, who does have the Rylai's. You have to separate out the 3 squishies, the Kindred, the Neeko, and the Ashe, from the Nautilus and the Mordekaiser. And you have to separate them out, use your Wombo combo of your, Ezreal ulti, Rumble ulti, while someone is like Ashe is inside the Cataclysm when she doesn't have flash, right? I mean, she's just absolutely obliterated. And then when the AD carry's gone, you can then maybe focus on the other AD carry, the Kindred or the Neeko, while Nautilus is just trying to CC someone. You have the mobility of Ezreal, Yuumi, Corki, Jarvan. They're all mobile, so they can kind of dance around a fight. So once you get one dump of damage onto a singular target. After that, you then use your mobility spells to move around the fight and kite your way out to hopefully get to the point where you can then pick off individuals on the sides, like the Mordekaiser on one side, to finish it off. But we're a ways from that, right? They have to have the perfect setup. They need better vision to set this up, and this is all things they have to think about on the fly, which I think is really helping TT because they have a very straightforward, clear advantage in multiple areas.
I mean, exactly. You put it extremely well. Honestly, right now it looks like we're really at a stalemate here between TT and Wuat. They look like they're just trying to farm up now and potentially get to that point that you were talking about, where they can scurry around and actually get the mobility items to get around in this team fights. Looks like we got a little groupage here in the top side river, and looks like they're going to look to the flank on the Corki here. Looks like Nautilus might be. Oh, the Ashe Arrow is coming out, but it barely misses.
Oh my gosh, that almost hit Yuumi. Yumi dance between the two nearly gets clipped. Oh, wow.
Nautilus ulti is going to come out. It looks like it's going to hit Ezreal. Ezreal's ulti is going to come out, and Nautilus is going to fall to Rixie as he... Nautilus is, in this game has been showing that he wants to go in. He has the ability to follow it up, but it doesn't seem to be working for some reason. And I think it's just because...
Oh, I mean, he dove between two towers with no help behind him. That's why that one didn't work.
Of course. There's Jarvan ulti coming out, and the Kindred ulti as well, but Jarvan is going to... Rumble ulti is going to come out. Well, Nico ulti is going to come out, and it looks like Rumble and Yumi are going to fall through. Yumi is going to get the shutdown on Ashe. Not favorable in this situation.
Hey, I predicted something correctly. They have to Cataclysm in a squishy person who can't escape, drop the Rumble ult and the Ezreal ult on top, took them extremely low. Kindred popped the ult, but didn't particularly matter because as soon as Kindred ult went up, you still had the Rumble, equalizer, literally equalizing the fight, burning through, picking up 2 kills, and then the AD carries being able to, with their long-range abilities, just to poke it out at the end to finish off the Ashe. So a great, just execution of their team comp right there, coming out from one trick.
I mean, yeah, they just kind of, like you said, they were able to perfectly Cataclysm into Rumble ult, into Ezreal ult, and secure the kill. And it looks like, okay, it looks like they're all standing there for a second. But they're all going to move out in a team here. And it looks like Rumble is down there looking to make a pick here on the 3.
I think it's more just to watch for the scuttle.
Yeah, maybe a little scout here for the team. But it looks like almost the full team is here. We're missing Corki, but Corki's coming up right here. A little bit of, an Ashe arrow is going to come out onto the Jarvan. And the Jarvan is going to get rooted and stunned at the same time. Nico ult is going to come down and destroy the Jarvan at the same time. And it looks like Rumble and Ezreal, as well as Corki, is going to go in on the Ashe, and the Ashe is fall to the Corki. And that secures another dragon for Buat. Or actually, it secures their first dragon. My apologies. It secures their first dragon, which is an Infernal.
Kindred's still here, and Kindred has Smite. So...
True. However, they pulled it out, and...
They're looking for the kill.
They're looking for the kill. Kindred ulti is going to come down and deal a lot of damage to Ezreal. Ezreal's going to get the kill, of course. And looks like he's also going to be going for the kill on the Nautilus. Nobody else is here to help the Nautilus except himself. He kills the wall right next to him, and he's going to fall to Rixie as well. And they secure the Infernal Drake in the meantime.
So, very long extended breakdown here coming up, but jeez, that was a lot. So the setup for the vision, they suspected that Rumble was along that corner wall, but they didn't expect that he would stay there for so long. So as the Ashe arrow came out and they funneled in onto the AD carries there, Jarvan was able to flag and drive, Cataclysm right on top of the Rumble ulti. Ezreal ulti comes across, can't save everyone as people get caught in the crossfire. Mordekaiser is able to ult someone, but then once he came out of the ult, because he wasn't able to get the kill, because you can jump over the walls, and Mordekaiser's got to walk around, can't make it. He just gets absolutely obliterated. Ashe got too close, because then the re-engage from the Corki Ezreal can chase you down with their mobility spells. That's the way Woot wants to do these team fights. And TT had such a great advantage in the laning phases, right? Top was winning, bot was winning, mid was relatively even. Jarvan.
Cataclysm coming down from the Jarvan. Nico is also going to place a hold down on top of the Jarvan. Jarvan seems to be able to, Tuba and Rixie both getting a kill there.
Anyway, that was dirty. But they're fighting in skirmishes, right? They're doing these team fights in jungle areas and not in lanes where you can push up. You can try and have your one person with teleport on TTU Phoenix and Mordekaiser push a lane in the 1v1 where he was beating Tuba. After the last 4 minutes now, they're even on kills, they're even on deaths. In fact, Rumble actually has an assist advantage. So all the advantages that were taken as another fight breaks out.
Corki package is going to come out and the Nautilus is going to drop the ulti onto it. Merrick Rebels is going to get the kill onto the Nautilus. And Mordekaiser is going to get chased down behind the splash, so maybe he can get out. Nope, Jarvan's going to come through with the Q, and the double kill is going to come out for the Jarvan. that all started at Baron.
It did. And so this is what their team can do, right? They have the engage tools, right? They have the range engage. Last game we talked about the fact that, they had to literally run at them, right? They had the Garen, they have the Olaf. They just had to physically run at TT. Well, this game, what do we say? The Jarvan, Flag and Dragon, the Cataclysm, the long-range equalizer from Rumble. You have the Corki package, which can be a long-range engage, just used properly in that case. Ezreal ult, while not an engage tool, is a good follow-up damage position. And if they get engaged upon, they have the Yuumi ult to prevent any further engage. But they're squishy and they're mobile, but they don't have They didn't at the time have advantage in the side lanes, and then grouping up in the jungle is funneling into the small space where the 280 carries can deal range damage, and it's easier to land your Cataclysm. So TT is playing into the win condition of Woot instead of playing into their own win condition, which was you had a buffed up Mordekaiser, put him in a side lane, and just let him power down a lane, right?
Right.
So now you play the Baron dance. Who's going to get the better vision into who's going to get the better picks?
Yeah, they are technically dancing around the riverside of the Baron. And I mean, I honestly, right here, I believe it lands on who's able to make the first engage at the right time, and is able to deal that damage in that time before the other team's able to respond, honestly.
And we have 1, 2, 3 Quicksilver Sashes, the anti-Mordekaiser item. So none of the Jarvan nor either 80 carries can get taken to the Shadow Realm. And if Rumble goes to the Shadow Realm, Rumble has Zhonya's, right? So Rumble can sustain through it. Yumi's not going because Yumi's attached to someone at all times. So
right.
In that regards, they've set up perfectly to counter the most fed member on the side of TT, and this is a great way of an adaptation if in-game of a strategy, possibly an engage coming out.
Engage coming out from the Jarvan, the Astral is going to drop Eagle. He's going to drop it. It looks like the Yuumi is going to play the Nautilus, and Guardian Angel is going to be caught by the Jarvan. Once again, coming out of the station, but he is going to be able to flag the Dragon out of there. Mordekaiser there. Possibly for the follow-up here. Looks like he's going to have to walk away or he's going to lose his life, which the Corki is able to secure the kill onto the Mordekaiser in that extended fight.
So there you go. Your group of 4 not set up to succeed because your fed member is split pushing, which we wanted to see coming out of the Mordekaiser, and was the first to teleport in, but we wanted to see that 10 minutes ago, right? We didn't want to...
Right, we wanted to get earlier before everybody got this.
Yeah, Jarvan, I mean, look at Jarvan's item. QSS and Guardian Angel. He is going in, and that is it, right? He's going to remove any CC if he gets taken to Shadow Realm from the QSS, and he's no problem dying and then coming back to life because he knows his one job is to go in onto the squishies.
Looks like Rumble's going to be pushing back. Looks like he's going to be pushing back TT as they secure the Baron for their team. And it looks like Rumble is kind of stuck on the other side of the Baron pit, and he's going to fall to the Ash inevitably.
Yeah, the only person without an escape mechanism got put to the back of the pit.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing else he can do there. Honestly, all he can do is try and fight that out. Which, I mean, he could flash. I don't know if he doesn't have flash, so he can't flash out to the other side of the wall. So that's the best thing he can do. But 4 other members of Team Wuot have Baron buff now, and that's gonna be really big here for pushing the wave. Their mid team 1 is gonna fall though.
So they will trade that for Baron. We have another dragon fight, right? So here's your advantage, right? Jarvan is
looking like he's caught out here. Mixing the Flag and Dragon. Looks like he's going to fall to the Kindred. I apologize. Rixie got a kill onto the Nautilus, and Rixie looks like he wants more. He's gonna face shift over the wall. He's gonna kill onto the Kindred. Mordekaiser's gonna try and fight that back, but inevitably misses the eat and no longer has the engaged tool.
So, there was your advantage, right? Jarvan could only go in once, dying. But not everyone was there, right? Nico wasn't there. Ashe wasn't there. They tried to fight and take the dragon at the same time. They split their objectives. Not successfully. They did get the dragon, so I mean 3 to run in dragons is nice, but now you have 80 carries with Baron.
Exactly. And I believe that was a 3 for 2, or was it a 2 for 1 trade down by the dragon?
2 for 1. So they lost 2 but got the dragon. Rumble pushing up the top lane. So TT, they have to get the engage onto the 80 carries, right? But it's hard to engage through the Yuumi ult and the Jarvan. And that's what they're going to have to do here. Is, I think, the problem is, if you're the Mordekaiser, once Rumble has dumped the first round of spells into the match, into the team fight, you can't really take Rumble to the Shadow Realm because it's not going to be as effective. You're going to want to take either the Ezreal or the Corki, right, to get on top of them. But they both have QSSs. They're waiting for you to try and QSS them.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes it really hard for the Mordekaiser is to find the perfect target to ulti. But it's hard when the main ulti point that you want to hit is you're gonna ulti them and they're gonna click for stash and get out.
So they have to use their pick tools, right? They have to use the Nautilus and Ashe to set up their team fights, which is why when they had the split push going on, they could use the Nautilus and Ashe to pick off an individual. But now that they're grouping up as 4s and 5s and large clusters, it's a lot harder to do that, right? Because they're all hanging out together, and they're the ones being, picked upon.
Jarvan looks like he's going to get the pick out on Jarvan. 2 ultimates can come out under the Jarvan, and of course Mordekaiser is going to get the pick out on the Jarvan. Ezreal's going to phase shift and hit the Nautilus, and the Nautilus is going to fall to the Ezreal. Mordekaiser looking in for another trade. He's going to hit Corki with his Q as they're trying to crack the base of Team Tempest here.
So this is an excellent job on Tempest. Until that.
Rixie drops the kill onto the Mordekaiser, and
I think we're going to actually... There's no way that they base race. Rixie just going off of this.
Oh, right. Rixie is going to go for the double kill. Looks like we might have a little bit of a base race going on here. Kindred is going to try and crack this inhib as soon as possible, and it looks like she's almost going to get it. Rumble's going to engage and absolutely melt Kindred's health bar. Didn't even need help from the Jarvan nor the Corki. That flamethrower is just insanely powerful.
So what set that up was the fact that Jarvan was trying to zone them off the tower when they still had Baron, but in that process they lost Baron. So the Kindred pushing in mid lane realized that they're just going to trade towers, right? Mordekaiser and Nautilus and Ashe gave their lives to trade inhibitor for inhibitor. Nico pushing up in the top lane tried to got a tower as well. So the towers actually went in favor in TTU in that example. But the problem is they took that mid lane mid lane inhibitor, which is the easiest to defend, whereas Woot were able to take the bot lane inhibitor, which is going to be the hardest to defend, particularly when both Air Drake is coming up here in 40 seconds and Baron is coming up in 50 seconds. Now teams are going to have to pick. If I'm Woot, I'm going to set up around the Baron. I don't particularly care about getting them getting a third Air Drake, because if I get the Baron, then I can control the top half of the map, because the bot lane's being controlled by the super minions.
Exactly. If Wuok gets the Baron here, they're going to have that extreme push potential. I mean, they've traded in him, and if they can get Baron here and put it on their minions in the bottom lane, looks like Corki is going to disengage with his package, and Ezreal is going to get hit with the Ashe arrow. And it looks like he did Quicksilver Sash to get out of that ultimate. His ultimate is going to come through and pick up a kill on the Nautilus with the sniper. And looks like Rumble is going to get the kill on the Kindred, and the Nico ult is going to come down, and it looks like Mordekaiser is going to keep trying to go in for the kill. Jarvan's Guardian Angel was almost cracked there, but just a slight miss there. He's going to go for the turret dive, but decides to back off quietly.
Rumble's going to back and teleport in, and I think this could be the end of the game here. Because, I mean, you have 280 carries, both with Sheens. These towers should melt really quickly.
Exactly. Mordecai's going to try his hardest to defend. It looks like they're going to be cracking into the Nexus. Jarvan going into the engage. He's going to go ahead and help Rixie pick up the kill onto the Jarvan. I mean, onto the Mordekaiser. And it looks like Wuwa takes game 2.
That was an excellent game, specifically because of the comeback mechanics that came out on the side of what? They were down extremely early. We talked about losing the top outer, the bottom, that teleport play early in the game went heavily in favor of TTU Phoenix on Mordekaiser and Team Tempest, basically across the board, all their team members participating in that. But they engaged into the wrong fights. They engaged into the wrong opportunities and some jungle skirmishes where we had the wombo. It's not even really a wombo combo, right? It's the layering of damage in a specific area.
Exactly.
With their R's. I guess that's technically a wombo combo, right? The Rumble, Jarvan, Ezreal, and Corki, all their R's over the same section and just absolutely chunking out everyone. Kindred a couple times did save some people with his ultimate, but then you're at like no health, right? And then by the time that's down, you got Flame Spitter, Rumble running at you. Ezreal and Corki able to dance around the team fights properly, laying out the damage. But you can tell that both these teams, one team played a style in Game 1 and in Game 2 of TT, and they didn't stick to it, right? They used the teleport early, but they didn't use it to their advantage in the mid-game to properly set up to take more objectives. Whereas Woot played around their strengths that we talked about going into both games, around their mid laner and AD carry, particularly Rixie and their AD carry being the gold leader on the team and therefore the damage dealer.
Exactly. I mean, it was just a beautiful game from Wuat. They understood what they had to do in the second game, and they performed. Even though the Mordekaiser was able to get fed in the early game, 5-1, just a force to be reckoned with. Everybody, buckled their bootstraps and was able to inevitably destroy the Nexus of Team Tempest. And they just knew what they had to do, and they performed.
Mm-hmm. So that is going to be the end of game number 2. We will be going over to game 3. I think it should be set up here. I don't know how I didn't be the one to set up the stuff. Technically, we're supposed to play Silver Scrapes because it is a best of 3, and they're going to game 3. But I do not know. It's set on random, so I don't. Yeah, I am not going to try and figure out where that is locally. So we are going to take a break from the casting desk here, and we will be back here in just a minute. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are going to Game 3 between Washed Up One Tricks. Apparently, I keep calling the Washed Up One Trick Ponies, and they don't have a P for the Ponies, so that's my bad. But once again, the AMO here with Grove. Oh my gosh,
Groavia.
Groavia. I tongue twisted myself there. Real quick. It's 1-1. This is the number 2 seed versus the number 3 seed. Tell us what you thought of the matches so far.
The first match, Team Tempest came out on top in that one, and I think it was just a matter of the fact of the Alawi. The Alawi really pulled through in the team fights, perfect timing on the ulti, and was able to ultimately secure the win for Team Tempest. Now, our last game, on the other hand, was starting out the same in the early game. The Mordekaiser kind of got those kills and was able to get an early item, an early Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and was able to make the presence there for Team Tempest. However, Uwat countered that really well with positioning, with wombo combos, like you said, with the Jarvan Cataclysm, Rumble ulti, and the Cork ulti, and the Ezreal ulti. I mean, they just combined everything together, made a very big team play, and was able to come out on top over Team Tempest in that last game. And it was just absolutely crazy, and I loved it.
So, going into the draft of Game 3, Wuat has elected to... Now, the Yuumi ban came out this time instead of Morgana. So they went to Morgana for the support. But they stuck with the Ezreal Rumble and the Corki, trying to continue look for that wombo combo that they instilled in Game 2, right? Both teams here, they find something that works, and they're going to try and stick to it until the other team proves that they can beat it. Well, Team Tempest, except for they went Zac because of the Jarvan ban. So Zac kind of separates out that damage, right? And it's
Exactly.
AP, but it's still long range engage. So we'll see how that goes. TT, they literally like flipped the coin entirely. They went, okay, this is the team comp we've been running. Flip. We now have Tank, CC, Ornn, top laner. Tank, CC, jungler, in a Mumu. We have a push lane AD carry in the Caitlyn. We still have a hooking support in the Sea of Thieves. Sorry, Sea of Thieves, but you're a hooker.
Ha!
It's a long night, guys and girls. Sorry, but and then Ashori going instead of the Nico going for the Ahri, so she's going to be the one dancing around. Nico kind of dancing around, but instead of doing the zone control this time, she's looking for the pick into damage, where you have the tanks to protect the Caitlyn, who is just going to... she's going to start off with a single-shot rifle, right? Pop, pop, pop. But by the end, she's going to be up there with the machine just going pop, 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 just trying to lay down as many auto attacks as possible, versus the wombo combo that comes out on the side of Wuat. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. The only thing I can think of it is the way that Team Tempest has to play this. I mean, they've got the hooker support, of course. They've got the tank. What they really need is to separate Wuat, because if they're together, they can perform that wombo combo like we saw in the last game. They performed it very well. Rixie on his Ezreal, as we can see, I mean, they do it very well. They need to be able to separate Wuat somehow. I mean, get picks, I mean, in the jungle any way they can, so that Caitlyn can actually get kills off on the enemy team onto Wuat.
So it's a very different game. So I expect, with tanks and not the aggressive like Kindred and Bruiser top laner, and just the constant fighting that we saw early game, we might have a little bit of a slower game, but we'll check in and see how that one goes. So everyone, strap in, click your safety belts, because we're going into game number 3. And
Buckle your straps.
I'm loaded right now at 2 seconds.
I'm at 4.
4, but I'll count down again and then count up, okay?
Sweet.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. Okay, so last time here, we have, and just remember that Wuat got the pick side for game 1. They chose red. TT got the pick side for game 2. They chose the blue side. It's 1-1 in the series. This time, Wuat has selected to swap over to the blue side, as Amumu sees everyone.
Mumu spots everybody out in the mid lane. As I've noticed in these games, actually it looks like Team Tempest is they were looking like they were gonna go into more of a standoffish kind of position here with, the top laner protecting the red buff, and then the 3 down in the bot lane, down in the bottom side jungle trying to protect that blue buff. I didn't see much of it in the last game, but it looks like they're trying to do that here. And it looks like Team Tempest is going to get a ward off in that bush just to protect that blue buff more.
Sorry, keep talking. I forgot to change the names of the teams.
Sure. I believe, so they got that vision into that bush that's going to protect that blue buff, and it looks like we're both going to be doing a leash here into their buffs, their respective buffs here at the beginning of the game. And yeah, pretty much what Team Tempest has to do here in the early game, get a really good engage with the Thresh hook. I mean, we've got a Morgana and an Ezreal on the side of Wuat. And, I mean, if Morgana can land that Q, then awesome. That's a great engage. But Ezreal's honestly not looking to win the lane. He's looking to sustain the lane and scale up. Whereas Caitlyn, if Thresh can land a really good hook, Caitlyn is going to be able to get a trap combo off, a double headshot combo, and as we can see there, the Morgana going in aggressive, looking for the Q off on the Caitlyn. However, she is going to lose a quarter of her HP. A little bit of a fight here in the top lane. And I mean, it's Ornn and Rumble. There's the hook right there. Hook coming out onto the Morgana, and it looks like the Aftershock is going to proc, and it looks like the Thresh is going to drop the Ignite and auto attack, and it looks like Thresh is going to get first blood here in the bot lane, and there is no follow-up from Rick.
Oh, and that's where the extra range from Caitlyn can come in. She can lay down that damage with the longer range auto attack. She can lay down the damage with the longer range Q. And Ezreal can't really do anything but blaze much poke back. And flash and heal and all flashes and ignite, burn in bot lane. So Caitlyn even used the heal to make sure that she could get in range to help finish that one off.
It was a beautiful engage. That's all. I mean, I was just talking about it. If the Thresh can land a hook just like this, play, and then Caitlyn can come down with the. Oh, Zach is actually going to come with the counter game. He's going to grab both of them with a Q. And it looks like Zach is going to get the kill onto the Thresh and then go over to the Caitlyn and see if he can't pick up a kill onto her. She has no flash, no heal, she has no escape. Morgana lands a Q, and it's an immediate kill for Rixie in the bot lane. What a fiesta.
Amumu steals blue buff during the same time. So bot lane's got 3 kills already. All the summoners used except for AD carries. Flash down on the side of Jarvan. I said this game was going to be slow, man. I was completely wrong. We're at 3 kills in 3 minutes.
That is insane. It looks like I mean, we've already got 6k gold on the blue side and 5.8 on the red side. The bot lane has just been insanely proactive on both sides. Thresh hitting extremely great hooks, and Morgana landed that, or actually it was Zach that came in for that counter gank to help the bot lane out. Saw it was struggling and came down. Beautiful plays by both teams.
We haven't mentioned that because the bot lane's gotten so much focus, this Ornn has actually done an excellent job up here in top lane in layering down the combos to deal the most amount of damage to Rumble, who's going to have to back now. And that's one of the things about Ornn, is you don't have to back unless you want to fill up your refillable. But TTU Phoenix has played an excellent series so far in games 1 and 2. As in the early game, only used 1 potion, means that buying all the boots and the crystal stuff will be able to just hang out here. In a good freeze down here in the bot lane by the Caitlyn Thresh, trying to set their lane up for success with no summoners up.
Right. I mean, it's going to be a while before that heal is back up. Thresh's Ignite is almost up, so maybe they can go for a little bit of an engage here. Zach is going to come in on the top lane and land a Q onto this Ornn, but he's just going to walk away. I mean, he's Ornn. It's super hard for him to... Oh, there's the Q landed on the Morgana, and a little bit of damage going off. Thresh took Aftershock here, and I kind of want to see him go... I wouldn't say go in, because that obviously wasn't the position for him to go in, but I do want to see him follow that Q up more and land that aftershock, and I believe he just landed a Q as well on the bottom again.
Oh my gosh, this is just getting pretty ridiculous down here. All of the hooks coming out from Sea of Thieves in these games has been really spectacular to watch this support play in this bot lane. And Rixay trying to counteract on the Ezreal, trying to be as mobile and nimble down here. Rixay with the Morgana going to have to be perfect with the Black Shield going forward. As the vision has come out, kind of sporadic for both teams on trying to get out the vision, trying to figure out where the Amumu went, while Zach was able to get off the gank. Amumu's been just kind of trying to farm it up and gate to level 6 as fast as possible. Only level 4 though.
Looks like the Q's going to come off from the Amumu to go for an extended trade. The Aftershock is going to proc as well. I mean, Thresh is just sitting there. The teleport is coming down from the Ornn from the top lane. Was that proactive?
Fight for
Yes.
Dragon?
I mean, do we get a secure on drag here?
I mean, if your top laner burnt teleport, you pretty much have to do it, right? Like,
I mean, if they want to get the worth for it.
oh,
yeah,
Zach in the bot.
Looks like Zach is in the bot lane with the Thresh, but he's not going to be able to hit the Q. I'm sorry, land the second portion of Q. It looks like they're just whittling this poor little dragon down inch by inch. And I mean, that's the only way they can make that teleport worth. I mean, I believe the Ornn saw what looked like a team fight was going to happen. Proactive, he's very proactive. And it looks like they might be looking for a little bit of a wow 5-man bot situation. Ornn ult is going to come down. He's going to hit the Morgana. Blackstone's going to go down on the Ezreal, making sure that he could not get hit by that. The Morgana is going to fall to home on Amumu. And I think that's what they were looking for here with that teleport. I don't think it was an exact representation, but I think they figured out what they needed to do here. A 5-man bot situation, and they absolutely... That Morgana didn't see it, honestly. But it was a 5-man bot situation. But that gives Rumble a lot of time in the top lane, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And Rumble's going to be able to get a plate here. Zach's going to have to come over and cover and see if she... What? Stop fighting so I can talk.
See if he's going in again. He's going to have to throw the flash. Zach, he's going to land the hook on Zach, and Zach's going to go down. Taylor's going to pop Zach's passage. Now, can they kill the goo balls is the real question, and it looks like they will be able to. Oh no, a TP's coming out onto one of Zach's goo balls, but it looks like Ezreal is going to fall to Hull. A little bit of a fight there in the top lane. As you can see, they're just a little bit of a trading here.
The Ornn canceled the Rumble teleport. That's the reason why Rumble didn't come in and absolutely wipe that fight. Because Zach came out of the Bloblets, because teleport saves the Bloblet, keeps it alive, right?
Right.
And so that means that Rumble would have came in, was level 6, would have absolutely laid down all of the damage. Amumu was low, but because of no follow-up, it ended up being a 3v2 instead of a 3v3 with one person with everything. And Amumu capitalizes, picks up another kill. Ezreal drops, and the Zac died as well. Caitlyn now 1, 1, and 2 with a BF and a pickaxe. Really strong here in the bot lane. The top lane, an excellent job by TTU Phoenix once again canceling that teleport. The gold advantage is going in the favor here yet again in the early game of Team Tempest. They've shown 3 games in a row here in the first 10 to 15 minutes that they're been the superior team.
Here in the early game, yeah. I mean, they show strong pressure in the early game, but it looks like Thresh is going to get the Q thrown onto him. Clearing out some vision up in the top side. A little bit. It looks like Amumu is not going to be able to fight for that in that little skirmish. If there was one, I mean, it's extremely low. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Team Tempest has showed up in the very beginning of these matches, showing up with extreme aggression and extreme pick play and potential.
Yeah, and the Morganas just cannot put enough points in the Black Shield fast enough to lower that cooldown, right? Oh no, the engage up top.
The engage is going to come down from the Ornn ulti there, and it looks like Ornn is going to drop the package down, but the Ornn ulti is going to slay nobody, I'm sorry. It looks like Ornn and Amumu were both slain by the 3. Very proactive by Corki.
So I couldn't tell which burn damage was dealing more damage, the Corki package or the Rumble ult, because they were laying basically on top of each other, and they look really like the same exact ability, even though they kind of overcross. But Corki being with that package, able to get up the top lane before Ahri could get up to lay any support down whatsoever. It was a nice bait coming off from the top side of the map as Thresh, with those mobility boots in lane.
Looks like Thresh is going to get poked down really hard, and Rixie's going to pick up a kill on the CSD. I think it was just a point of overextension, but it looks like the Morgana is going to Black Shield, I'm sorry, not Black Shield, Stopwatch. Hey, is going to pick up the kill. Corki is just absolutely laying down fire on top of the Ahri, and the Ahri is just going to walk into the back of the pit. Flash coming out from the Corki. Flash coming out from the Rumble. Everybody's flashing these days.
Rumble flash because Rumble went in there to pick up the package. So, oh my gosh, I can't tell you what's happening because there's more fighting.
Looks like Corki is going to be going in on the movement with the, and it looks like the Ornn is going to be able to hit the Rumble with the Corki just barely missed that ultimate, but Tuba picks up the kill on ult, and it is an even 7-7 at 11 minutes in the game.
Okay, so I'm going to be super fast here. In the bot lane, Thresh, using the mobility boots, walked around to try and throw the hook. But when you throw the hook, you put yourself in status, which makes it really easy for Morgana to land the binding. Morgana lands the binding, Ezreal lays down all the poke damage, down. Corki dead. But then Morgana, using with that advantage, tries to 2v1 into the Caitlyn. Caitlyn uses traps and to escape, so Morgana can't get through. She goes into Zhonya's. Because of the Zhonya's, well, that's not going to happen because you're just going to come up and right die. And we got more fighting going up here as the ganks in top lane start working.
Thresh landed on the Rumble, but I don't think it can output enough damage in it. They might be able to. The Rumble ultimate come down onto the Thresh, but Tuba is going to play the Thresh with his ultimate. Zach, his ultimate is coming after Zach. Might as well onto the Ahri. Corki's going to land an R onto the Ahri, and looks like a Mumu is here to follow up and save the Ahri from the onslaught that Zach was bringing to her face.
So
Continue.
The fighting keeps on happening so fast that it doesn't particularly matter. I can't get everything out in the next 30 seconds. So as we have the gold tank up top, means that you're going to then try and go into the Rift Herald teams engaged on top of each other, more fighting ensued, and it looks like Whoop was able to pick the ones that picked up the Rift Herald. Then they dropped it mid because that's where they had the pressure, and before the next dragon came up to even out the gold and actually take the gold lead. Now, we are at 8-7. We are 15 kills in 12.5 minutes.
There is a barely any gold lead here on the side of Wuat. An extremely feisty game, man. Absolutely feisty. Fiesta in the bot lane, Fiesta in the mid lane. It's not Summoner's Rift anymore, man. It's Fiesta Rift.
Okay, so Rumble's in a really strong position here. As tower plates, there's 3 left in top on blue, 4 on red, versus bot lane, 2 on blue side left, 5 on red. Mid is completely gone on the side of red, so tower plates are kind of what's going to this gold advantage on top of the kill. We now have the dragons. Teleport's only up for the Ornn at the moment, but if Ornn teleports, this will be a tower going over to Rumble. But they've started the dragon. Pull it out. It's an ocean dragon. Both teams want this ocean, though sustain is going to matter because both teams have, I mean, more particularly for Whoop because they don't want the enemy team to have the regen from their double 80 carry poke that they're going to lay down. Also, Rumble get some good poke in. See if the top laners want to teleport in here. If I'm teleporting in, I would want to teleport in, but it looks like we may have a full fight.
A little bit of fight. The Thresh Q is going to land the charm onto Zach. Now, the Zach Elbows are out. Now, here's where the teleport would come in if they were going to do it. But no, Zach is going to fall to the Caitlyn. Dragon is going to be secured by the red team. And that is a win for the red team here as far as the dragon goes. Zach fell. Can you just kind of explain what really, like, the breakdown of that, what really happened?
So Ezreal and Corki were able to get out of the pit. Ezreal wasn't even there. Morgana was off to the side. Ezreal went out, and Zach was kind of stuck in the pit. And because there's no able to re-engage since Zach is their engage tool, Rumble teleporting in means Rumble dies, right? Because you're teleporting in the 4 members of the enemy team. So Ezreal trying to control the bot wave, and not having position from the Corki Morgana to help support, whereas a solid group of 4 collapsing into the pit just means that unless Zach had to flash out to live, and they just handed it over. So it was just the positioning and the timing of their ward placements and how they maneuvered around the pit, which allowed Woot to basically just hand over the dragon. I want to say for free, but because TT did actually have to step into it, but set themselves up for more success.
Morgana is going to get a bunch of damage dropped on her by the Caitlyn. Looks like Zac is here. Rumble ulti is going to come down. Zac is going to flash and land the ulti onto the thresh. Only Yuba is going to pick up a kill onto the thresh. And Caitlyn is going to walk away full health. Not what Zac is expecting, but he'll take it. I know he wanted to get both Caitlyn and the thresh in his ulti.
Well, that was such an unlucky and lucky play on both sides, because Sea of Thieves was going for the flay onto Morgana, who baited out that by walking into the bush and getting hooked. Now, because the flay came out at the same time Zac was coming in, didn't land the CC down perfectly onto the Thresh. Therefore, Thresh was able to escape further out. They had to use more abilities to lay down to kill a Thresh, and thus Caitlyn was able to survive and help just basically protect the tower. But still a pretty good gank down here as Tuba walked down here. Give it up. We're at the point where we're going to try and see there's the skirmishes, right? We're back to Woot laying down their ultimates in the wombo combo style to properly set up their team fights with all of the damage. Whereas, well, without Ornn here, there's not the two tank frontliners. As Ornn did tank top tower, so that's a good job by Ornn. Zac? Oh, no.
Zac going with the engage. Thresh is going to land the hook onto the Zac, and it looks like the Mumu ult also came out there, and they killed the Zac. It looks like the Ignite is going to come down. He's going to get a double kill onto the Morgana for the Ahri. Teleport coming down from the Rumble, actually, from the Ornn, actually. The Ornn is going to come down for the teleport to help with the switching power. Mumu's going to land the Q, but he's just kind of run into his own death there a little bit. Ornn ulti is also going to come out. He's also going to throw down the E. He's going to grab the Thresh Laner, and they just need to get out of there as soon as possible while it's still somewhat positive for them.
So wow. It's just the poke from the AD carry in the Morgana, right? And then it's your long range engage. Zac got hooked by the Mumu Bandage Tosh into the hook from the Thresh, into the Charm from Ahri, plus the Mumu ult means you're not going anywhere. And then with all the CC and really engage down as they try to push up the minion wave, Ezreal, Morgana, and eventually Corki can come in and lay their poke down over the walls in between minions and flush out any damage. So once the tank's engages do come back up, it's not enough time. Mumu lands a bandage toss, but didn't set it up with the Ornn ult to properly lay CC, and that's how TT's going to win. The proper CC between the tanks versus the proper damage being laid down on the side of Woot. Whichever team does those better in these 4v4s and 5v5s is going to win the game.
Exactly. I mean, and it's got to get to the point where we can get either Woot can group up and get those wombo combos like they did in the last game, or look like this. Caitlyn's going to fall to the Zac at a perfect time, being able to save the Corki and at the same time pick up a kill for Fuat. Anyways, like I was saying, it's got to get to the point where Fuat can get those team fights and get those wombo combos out like they did last game. And this is also, and for Tempest here, they need to be able to pick, like I said, they got to pick off. They've got to have those long-range AD carries like they have been in the backline, just dealing extreme amount of damage like we just saw with Caitlyn on the Corki. She just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Zac jumped right on top of her and smacked her right in the face.
Zac didn't actually get an assist on that. That was just all pure damage from Rumble and Corki.
Was that just Corki?
That was Corki and Rumble damage. That was it.
Well then, there you go.
That's...
Corki actually out-damaged Caitlyn. So that's another selling point for Fuat if you're going for Fuat.
Oh, Rumble did most of the damage. That equalizer from Rumble is just so powerful right now with the 2 penetration items. The fact that is level 11, just the level 2. But by sending 2 people up top to take the tower, Fuat is getting control over the T here on the dragon. Oh, the Ezreal!
Looks like the Ezreal is going to steal the Ocean Drake with that ulti. Ricky.
Now they're going to team fight mode.
Oh, team fight mode. He's coming with the ulti. The 4-man ulti. Ornn is also with 3 people as well. Amumu doesn't know what he's going to do. All he's doing is gone. He doesn't use proc, but he's not really doing any damage. Ornn has to flash away. Zac coming back to the Q on both of them. Gets the kill on to the Ornn. And Ahri is going to be the only member of Team Tempest that gets to walk away from that team fight.
This is high-quality League of Legends, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we got the Ezreal ult steal into the CC layering between 4-man Amumu ult into 4-man Ornn ult into the fact that the AD carry somehow got picked off by Rumble on the side, who flashed over the wall to take out the AD carry, meant that there was no damage to follow up on the great CC coming out from the tanks, and then just the AD carries on the side of Wu piling in on top of the tanks with no damage being laid back onto them, able to nearly wipe the fight. Ari able to dance her way to safety, but that's another tower going down in the favor of Woot. They've now taken a 3-1 tower lead and up 2.5k gold lead. This is Tuba's Rumble, ladies and gentlemen. 6-1-3. Had a rough start last game, not this game.
Absolutely bonkers. That was, I mean, the steal was the first whoa. 4-man ult from the Amumu, second whoa. I mean, you explained it all. I mean, 2 4-man ults in a dragon steal?
And the entire time, Rumble just basically said, I'm ignoring this team fight, and just went right over the wall into Caitlyn.
And that's honestly what he needs to do there. I mean, that's what won them the fight, is that Caitlyn was out of the fight. She wasn't there to provide that damage that we were talking about earlier. Wasn't there to provide that extreme DPS, and it came out in Wuot's favor. So looking like a little dance over against like that.
Packaged over the wall.
Charm gonna land onto the Zac. Looks like Thresh gonna have to flash out as after Charm proc. Mumu tanking up. Oh my goodness, Thresh looks like he's gonna get killed by Rixie. Rixie is on a killing spree. Rixie is gonna get the kill onto the Thresh. A true support. The Thresh is trying to save that Amumu, even though I think the Amumu is just fine, playing a support like a support should. But Rixie does get the kill onto the Thresh.
Once again, the Corgi package, an excellent job on the side of Woot using. And another 4-man ult on the side of TTU Phoenix.
Absolutely insane. I mean, just trying to get them to pull off of that Baron, which I believe was successful for the time being. They were able to get them to pull off, but the real question is, are they going to be able to follow up and actually do that Baron?
I don't think so. No, I think it's interesting that TT has elected to handshake into the 5v5 team fights, this time going with saying that we will CC your carries and our carries will lay out more damage, because that's normally not the style that they've best been seen playing.
Zac going in with an ulti, the Rumble ulti also going to be coming down. Ezreal ulti is also going to be coming down straight down through the mid lane. Ornn is going to go ahead and grab that lantern, and it looks like they're all out. It looks like Ari was doing something on the team fight.
Ari
from the Zac.
Not a chance on that for Ari. I mean,
no.
Zac,
I mean,
CC, Ezreal are. Now we have a Dragon Steel already, so we'll see if we get into the Baron Steel.
Engage going in onto the Ornn, but there's nothing else to proc the Q onto for the Zac. Caitlyn is there with the DPS. We'll see if she can actually pull it off here. Dealing a lot of damage. The Thresh hook is not gonna land on any member of Wuot. Once again, they have stopped the Baron from being taken. And is this where?
It's just the CC control, right? Like, they have such strong CC that they have to make sure that they get the right person picked off. You're not worried about the damage necessarily coming out from the enemy team, just the CC to prevent you from properly taking the Baron, and you don't want to particularly fight it. Oh my gosh.
So much damage coming out onto the Caitlyn from the Corki and Ezreal.
Those are, I mean, the Sheen procs are real. The Sheen procs are real.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Corki's already got a completed Trinity Force. Ezreal has a completed Manamune and a completed Iceborne Gauntlet. They're dealing so much damage that Caitlyn couldn't see that coming. When I talk about Caitlyn being a DPS, let me refer to Ezreal and Corki as DPS. And they're going to, confirm themselves. I believe that was that Ocean or Wind? I believe it was a Cloud Drake. It was
Cloud Drake, as
yes,
they're evened up the Drakes.
Both have a Ocean Drake and a Cloud Drake. I mean, what else could you ask for in this game? I mean, we're only 24 minutes in. We're 18 to 11, 41k gold to 39k gold. Baron still has yet to be taken.
So this is, I mean, right, so TT in all these skirmishes, they're coming out for worse in the kills, but other than the last dragon and the last tower, I mean, they really haven't given up much, right? The towers have actually even. They're at 3-3. The CS differences are there, but they're for Corki. Because everyone else on the side of TT is winning in the CS. So that means we're looking at a team that was particularly strong in the laning phase. If they give up deaths, but they don't give up any objectives, it's like getting a worthless kill.
Engage going in on to the Zac. Zac is going to get hit with. Zac ult is going to come out. Rumble ult is also going to be coming out. Orn ult. Everybody's ult is coming out into this team fight. Looks like Orn is going to be slain and Rumble are both going to be slain. Morgana on the team of Wuat is going to get slain as well. Looks like Caitlyn down with the double kill, and Ezreal kills Corki. DPS, as I said, is going to be providing an onslaught to Amumu, but Amumu is going to take that Thresh Lantern out and secure his safety.
Everyone is below 50% health that's still alive on the side of TT, and Ezreal and Corki were untouched. So that is the tanks doing their job, right? Just surviving just long enough for their damage dealers to win the fight, because they won 3 for 2 in that fight.
Exactly. That's what's really winning. Wuat's got the DPS. They've got the damage. They've got the CC. What else do you need, really?
No, but TT won the fight because of their tanks and their damage, because the way everything was layered. Rumble got caught out in middleman's land, right? Rumble got caught between Ahri, Caitlyn, and the tanks, because he has to get to the backline. But he's the only one getting to the backline because Corki and Ezreal are too busy dealing with the Amumu and the Ornn in front of them. As well, Ornn nearly gets... Or not Ornn. Thresh nearly gets picked off. And so it's going to get to the point where Caitlyn's going to be able to out-DPS and kill Rumble and Zac faster than Corki and Ezreal can out-kill Ornn and Amumu faster, because Rumble's not a tank. So Rumble has to get, I think, Zhonya's, literally next item. Or,
exactly.
Guess go for a Rylai's, but I think you have to go Zhonya's next, because you need to be able to give your backline some time to kill the tanks to go through on to the next line of damage.
Exactly. Both teams tank. Both teams CC. Both teams have wonderful DPS. And engage. It's all dependent on who can get to the backline first, and who can provide enough tank and peel for their ADC/DPS.
And they're going to go about it different ways, which is why I was interested to see that TT chose this, right? With this team comp, they elected into a team fight composition, which what they have. I'm not saying that they're not good at it. I'm just saying that during the season, the way that they played the game was usually, if there were kills, they were usually skirmish kills, right? 2v2s, 3v3s. They weren't large team fight kills. This is why you have teammates with low kill participation across the board, in the 50s, and in case of TTU Phoenix, below 50%, versus Wuat, who their kill participation for every single member was basically at or around 60%. I think their lowest was 56% or something like that, which means that they usually fight in these 5v5s. That's one of their strengths. Notice how the Corki 6-0-8, the Ezreal 6-2-5. They're really good at doing this. Zac's the one with all the deaths with the support. They're engage and pick champions.
Looks like they're going to start up the Baron here, and I think
Ornn does have teleport.
Their idea that they're doing it. Ornn does have teleport. They're going to pull on to it once again, though, and there comes the Ornn ulti. Going to land on the Zac. Amumu is going to miss the Q, however, not being able to follow up on the engage, but Amumu is going to fly the ulti onto the Zac. Zac is going to come out. It looks like Ziggy is going to pop the Zhonya's, but the Caitlyn is going to pop the Morgana, and Amumu is going to fall to the Corki. However, Caitlyn is still back there doing so much damage. Caitlyn, there you go. Pop the hit the Rumble with one kill, with one shot, and was able to kill him. She's also going to go ahead and kill the Zac as well. A double kill onto the Caitlyn. And once again, we're in a 3 for 3 here. With
a 3 for 3.
It was a 3 for 3.
The 80 carry. Numb and Tum definitely won that team fight for the side of TT, as all of the damage, right, there was a split fight. 2 on one side, 3 on the other side. It was the Thresh and the Caitlyn versus the Morgana and the Rumble, and then the other 3 and the other 3, right? And Caitlyn was able to win that fight, take out the Thresh, while Ahri, Ornn, and Amumu were allowed enough damage to take out the Ezreal and the Corki, brought them down to extremely low health, so they couldn't re-engage once they had gone through the tanks, right? Because Ornn was still up as peeling back. Rumble, unfortunately, stepped on a trap and got headshot crit, which annihilated. And Rumble's actually gone for a Void Staff next item. I slightly disagree with that. I personally would have gone for a Zhonya's, but I'm much more of a defensive player. Tuba, way better player than me, probably knows what he's doing going for the Void Staff, knowing that he has to get through the MR that's coming out on the side of Ornn and on Amumu right now, and just try. I mean, just the flat pen damage just does so much for Rumble, just in general, because of all of the damages deal so much burn, especially with the Landry. So I mean, I understand we're trying to get with the Void Staff. We want to try and get some true damage in onto these champions, but I think staying just a slightly bit longer. Can't get, you know, 1 shot or 2 shot by the crits coming out from Caitlyn. But we talked about the DPSs from both sides, the tanks from both sides, the engagement, and the skirmishing, right? So we've had 10 minutes of fighting, no towers taken, 2 dragons. And TT has been the advantage winner the entire time of all of this. They were the one that was down thousands and thousands of gold. They were the one that was down in kills. They were the one that was basically down in dragons. Now they're up in dragons, and they're almost tied as another fight.
Engage coming in from the Zac, and it looks like he's going to hit and shoot. The Zac ulti also going to shoot down. Sonya's going to be coming in. Rumble's going to fall through the minimum. And it looks like Caitlyn ult is going to come down, but not yet. There you go. It looks like Ornn is going to secure the kill onto the Corki, and it might just be a Baron play for Team Tempest. This is what we're waiting for here. We've only got Ezreal and Zac left up on the enemy team. They don't have that much health, and Thresh is over here stalling the Zac as long as he can in order to help secure this Baron for his team. He is going to fall to the Zac. Zac is almost dead though, but it looks like Team Tempest is going to secure the Baron finally. 32 minutes into the game. We've been looking at this Baron since 22 minutes in the game. 10 minutes and dancing around this Baron, and finally that team secures it.
Now, TTU Phoenix has finally upgraded everyone's items. So we have the Luden's upgraded onto the Ahri. The Caitlyn has upgraded the IE and the Mask, Infernal Mask, onto the Amumu. Also upgraded Sunfire Cape and Infernal Mask on the side of himself. And I think this is what's slightly pushing their advantage, right? The extra damage that's coming out from the DPS champions on the side of TT. Caitlyn was not touched on that last team fight. Amumu, or the Rumble ult, excellent job across the team, except for didn't get in onto the Caitlyn. Caitlyn was able to stand over the wall with that little bit of extra range because of what she is, and just laid the damage over the wall. While the tanks all CC'd it up in the middle, and the AoE damage is a lot stronger from Ornn and Amumu and Ahri than it is from Rumble, who has to go use the stopwatch because being attacked by Caitlyn, and Morgana, because Morgana, once again, your damage is situational, right? It's based on front of you. Zac is all like damage on top of you. Rumble's the only one with the AoE damage with the Ezreal and the Corki. They are not layering their ultimates down, that Wombo combo that we saw in Game 2, because they don't have a CC control zone that Jarvan gave them from last game. They have the Zac, who knocks and spreads everyone up, which is better for a little bit more of a pick comp, which goes great with Morgana, but you have to layer your CC properly to get those team fights in the best situation. You can't do like last fight where you just lay everything down on top of each other. You kind of have to layer everything in a kind of a zone to put it out. I mean, and now you're just pushing it with Baron as the poke cops come off, right? They're just kind of poking at each other, which is kind of why I'm taking all the talking here. Because I think are they going to set up for another dragon? They are. It's another Fire Drake in 20 seconds.
It'd be great. And I mean, the Abyssal Mask on Amumu and Orange is going to be extremely huge. I mean, we got magic damage coming in from the Rumble. We've got magic damage coming in from the Morgana as well. I mean, that's some big damage.
Corki and Ezreal are both semi-magic dealers.
Yeah, to an extent. And it's just going to be extremely tough. And Amumu to take...
the one headshot crit coming out. Oh my gosh.
Tino is going to come in from the threat. They're going to drop the ulti on almost the entire team. And he's still going to walk away from the Zac. The Zac is going to go into lava. And Thresh is actually almost dead. But it looks like Rumble is going to firing on the Amumu. But it looks like this might just be another secure Drake for Team Tempest. Team Tempest seems to really be bringing their A game as it gets into 35 minutes into the game.
Fourth dragon going over them. The key was Gelati on the Corki stepped on a trap, got crit headshot, literally took his half from full to half. And then the team fights start, right? Zac goes in because he's got to protect the engage onto the Corki, and then Thresh goes with the hook and flashes out.
Rumble ulti is going to come down here. Looks extremely low, but he's going to get out of the way. Morgana is going to hit the Q and deal just enough damage to drop the orange.
And the re-engage, an awesome job there. I mean, these are what we're talking about. Two teams playing at really high levels here, trying to hit their peak points. We're looking at small mistakes being capitalized on both sides. Rumble ult comes up yet again, super quickly. Laser down gets the slow out as they try and push in with the Baron up minions that die. As they die, they get re-engaged on. Ornn can't escape fast enough.
Exactly, and I believe Baron buff has completed. If I am correct. I could be wrong. But Baron buff, I mean, that was our last chance to get a good push out with Baron buff, and they have yet to crack the base. But the team fights that we're seeing from both of these teams are extremely proactive and reactive at the same time. Caitlyn being super proactive in the backline, and the tanks knowing where they need to be in order to block as much damage and provide as much heal for the Caitlyn. It's just insane.
Yeah, and TT was doing a much better job in the last team fight, is that their tanks were peeling off 4 members, whereas 3 members or 4 members were dealing with the Zac, right? But Zac died because there's no supportive damage coming through, versus, you know, the Thresh was barely able to escape. The Amumu was barely able to escape. These barelys and ifs and ands is literally what is the difference in these team fights. We're talking about, like, missteps sideways to the left or to the right. I took 2 steps too far forward. These are what's causing the real difference. And these AD carries, Numentom on Caitlyn, Rixie and Gelati on the Corki and Ezreal have done an excellent job this time of showing how you play AD carry at a much higher level. The zone control. Deal the damage that you can in front of you. Look for the opportunities to get onto the carries, but if you can't, safely, make sure you're always dealing damage to someone.
I mean, exactly. I mean, why? If you can't deal it to their squishy, at least help your tanks in the front line destroy the other tanks, because that's honestly what it comes down to. I mean, as a support player, I understand that peel is super important for your AD carry, but the worst feeling is when your AD carry is too focused on trying to hit the enemy ADC and not focused on killing what's actually in front of you for that free kill.
Yeah, what you have access to is key. And Caitlyn has been funneled in so much gold with the kills and the 300 CS that we've been talking about. She's now at a full build. At 38 minutes, Ezreal's not a full build. Corki's not at a full build. We see components of some final items here, but the tanks. Look at the tank difference. Zac has a Warmogs and as completed item, and a Spirit Visage as completed item, versus the Amumu, who has the Mask and the Gargoyles as the completed items, and just the difference between the tank in the top lane, Ornn, who's just absolutely crushing this tower down here, the bot lane with the Frozen Fist, is the tank items, and the upgraded ability items from Ornn, it's actually going to make a difference. This is the late game Ornn buff, just really going to show its prowess here.
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking about coming into this game, is if this game lasts long enough, I mean, everybody's going to be able to get an Ornn empowered item. Like I believe the Ornn empowered item for the Locket of the Iron Solari.
Locket or Redemption.
or redemption. So if you're thinking about your plan Thresh, I mean, I would be looking for maybe a locket here to provide some more shield for
the engages.
Looks like the Portal team's going to come out and absolutely destroy the Morgana. The Ahri, the Zac is also going to be caught out. The Zanya is also going to be coming down, but it looks like a Mumu going in on the enemy team, and Ornn as well. But Caitlyn is still there, right there, trying to back. Rumble is going to block that ulti as he should, but Caitlyn was right there with her tank, making sure she stayed behind them, but still dealing as much damage as she could to the backline and the front line at the scene.
And that's the problem with Zac. Zac, while it was good Ornn ult, Ahri is able to come in with her ultimate, get the charm off the layer of the CC. Zac tries to counter engage, but goes too far. Goes to the point where his carries can't follow up with the damage, whereas Ornn and, like I said, Ahri layer the damage off real quickly. And it looks like we're going to have a Dragon for Baron trade. Are they going to get it?
I believe.
Teleport down the bot lane by Ornn.
Are they going to get it? Do they have the tank? Not the tank, I apologize. The damage to do it, and they do. But what side is that more worth? I think Team Tempest. Of course, you get a whole Baron.
Yeah, you get a Baron buff. The difference is now for on the side of Woot, you get the ability to play defense with the Elder Dragon while it's up, right? You now just get the delay Baron. They can't push as well because they don't want to push into that true damage burn. Now it is only a 3 Dragon Elder. I guess 2 plus the Elder, so it's not the strongest Dragon that could have been seen. I mean, if TT was the one with the Elder Dragon, the 4+1 would have been absolutely ridiculous. But it's better than nothing, right? Even in a disadvantage, they're trying to take their best advantage and see what happens. I want to see when Zac engages. Zac is level 15, super under leveled. The supports are both level 13. In a 40+ minute game, they are super under leveled. When compared to the solo laners, they are 18 and 17 and 16 respectively. The fact that your one main tank is 3 levels behind the enemy carry, you're going to have a little bit of a problem staying alive just because of level disparity on those stats. Well, let's see how the teams play out the team fight here. Zac can't go too far in the engage, and someone has to kill the Caitlyn. Ahri, you deal a lot of damage. Ashoi, you're playing a really good game, but it's really all about Namentub versus Rixie in the next team fight.
You see, the one thing I really do love about Wuwa is even when they're getting rushed down, when they're losing these team fights, they're still looking for the one thing. Hold up, engage coming from Zac, but the entire team is there. Zac only gets to come down and Rumble is still there, still taking healing damage as he can. A move is there, and it looks like Zac is going to not fall, but the Caitlyn Guardian Angel is going to get popped. Caitlyn gets 2 kills right before it happens. She's also going to get out as well with the Zac. The Zac does shut down the Caitlyn in the team fight, but the Zac is going to die, and that looks like it is a 4-2 trade in the favor of Team Tempest.
So, Rixie won the 1v1 versus the Caitlyn. Excellent job. The problem is, Rixie, you don't have a Guardian Angel. Guess what? Namentub on the Caitlyn has a Guardian Angel. And because of that reason, coming back up, Gelati then has to sacrifice himself and same with Mayor Weevils to come back in and kill the Caitlyn again. They are successful, but that means Brixby is being the left one here, left alone, and that's just not enough wave clear coming out from a level 14 Morgana. I think this is going to be the game.
It 100% could be. And could also be another pick for Ornn. Or I believe, of Ornn. Ornn got the pick on Brixby, and it looks like Zac is going to secure the win for Team Tempest in the final game of TT versus Wuat. TT comes out on top.
That was an excellent team fight from both teams. The Zac risked it into it, got onto the Caitlyn, the Rumble ult came over, the Ornn ult came out to prevent the full engage in onto the Caitlyn. Ezreal went over the wall, like we said. Rixie versus Namentub in that final team fight. Winner slightly goes to Rixie, but Namentub with the GA, and that extra damage coming out from the upgraded Ornn items I think really helped establish TT's advantage here pushing into these final fights. They fought against the Elder Dragon with the burn. They fought in the jungle, which probably shouldn't have been advised except for the fact that Woot had to try and go through the Mumu and the Ornn ults, and they just couldn't get around the corner enough or over that wall to get onto the Caitlyn and the Ahri to finish it out. If they had gotten both of them, this would have been a very different game. An excellent team fight to end it.
Absolutely. I mean, what Wuat really needed to do was win the early game. They had to win as soon as possible because, like I said, I mean, we've got a scaling Caitlyn. Amumu is just going to get tankier, as well as Ornn and Thresh. And once we get into the later game, everybody can pick up their Ornn upgraded item, whereas Wuat cannot. They've got, Zac, and they can have a full build, but Team Tempest will always be on top in the full build because they do have that upgraded Ornn item. And honestly, I think that both teams played extremely well, and Wuat was always looking for the next thing they could do. They were looking for the next objective. They were looking for the next turret that they could get. They weren't ever just sitting down and saying, well, we lost that team fight, let's wait until the next team fight. They were always proactive, reactive, and they found an objective that they could take even when they lost a team fight or they did lose something like Baron, they went Elder Dragon. Team Tempest played it out in the team fight. Amumu coming in with the Q ulti. Thresh coming in with a nice Q and then the ulti as well. Ornn dropping out an entire ulti on the entire team while Caitlyn is in the backline, just dealing as much damage as she can. And that's honestly how I think Team Tempest came out with the win in this match.
It was an excellent job here. I'm in chat here trying to set up. Where's he at? I think we may have to move rooms. Hold on a second. Here. Jump up to looking for group real quick. Okay, so that was really impressive out on the side of both teams, and we have a guest.
Okay.
So, Gruavia, welcome to the chat, and this is with TTU Phoenix, top laner of Team Tempest, the winners of the best of 3 versus Washed Up One Tricks. Welcome, man.
Thanks, it's really great to be here. I'm super stoked that we're here as the victors. We're really looking forward to the final.
Yeah, just going to turn you down just a tiny bit. So, real quick, for those players who haven't known, this is TTU Phoenix. He's a known Alawi player. Are you surprised you got Alawi for game 1?
I was, but basically as soon as we locked it in, we guessed that they were going for the Mordekaiser counter pick because we knew that Tuba played Mord. I was actually, until they left Alawi open, I was considering grabbing the Mord early so that he didn't pick it. But at that point, we'd already locked it in. It was partially how many opportunities am I going to get to do this all season? And in the end, the matchup ended up working out pretty well. So we were able to avoid getting punished that way. Tuba messaged me after the game to say game 1 was a mistake.
Yeah, so real quick from me, can you explain how that Alawi Mordekaiser match worked? Because in spectator mode, we don't get to see the ins and outs of the Shadow Realm very well. So it was super hard to tell when like one person was actually in the Shadow Realm with Mord or where your tentacles were in or out.
So the first 1v1 where I got the first kill basically came down to the fact that usually in the matchup, whoever ults first loses. Because if Mord ults early, Alawi can then grab and ult inside the Death Realm. But if Alawi ults first, Mord ults her, and her tentacles don't go to the Death Realm. You can actually use the Alawi ult to block going to the Death Realm, but the timing is very close. And I don't actually know if I've ever pulled it off. But the first time, I'd already killed his spirit, and so he auto-spawned a tentacle inside the Death Realm, and I was able to use that plus stacked up Conquer to win the fight. And mostly mostly it was in the first couple 1v1s, it was about sort of waiting, knowing when he was going to ult me, and making sure to wait to do the ER combo until after I'd been ulted. And then once we got to the mid-late game, he was usually ulting me in fights, and it was really just kind of a wash where he disengaged from me during the fight. I wouldn't be able to catch up to him, but by the time we both came out of the Death Realm, my team was usually able to pull the fight out. There was one moment when we were sieging their bot tower where he came out of the Death Realm right next to Kindred, and Hull was just very surprised. He was like, whoa, where did he come from?
No, yeah. So, Grevi, we'll trade questions, so you can go, and then I'll swap back and forth.
Honestly, Phoenix, I have this one question. I was in the last game. You were playing Ornn. I just really want to know what's going through your head when you're landing these 4-man to 5-man team ultis. Like, what is going through your head? Like, what is the process you're going through as you're landing those 5-man, 4-man ultis?
A lot of it, there's kind of two parts to it. The first is just kind of like when you're playing Malphite or Mumu or any like big engage tank, you're just looking for when are people grouped up, especially people that you know don't have an easy way out of to like get over a wall or escape the ult. And then once you call the ult, you start shifting into like retargeting. You're trying to figure out, okay, I've gotten the first hit on some people, but people usually start splitting up. So it's a question of who's most important that I hit with the second half. Do I want to try to go for a large group of people? Is there a priority target where I'm like, I'm going to sacrifice a multi-man ult for that? In these fights, partially because their team comp was very much about like mobbing up and using a wombo combo, it made it easier to get the big multi-man ults. But a lot of it's kind of once you call it in, you're like, all right, I have like 3 seconds. What's the best direction to send it from here? Especially if you can get the double tap on someone, because it's a lot of damage.
So I'm just kind of talking about into their wombo combo. How did you guys adapted your normal play style, as I discussed, from game 1 and game 2, where you are a lot more of a split pusher and your team is a lot more of a skirmish team and less of a 5v5 team fighting team. Why did into that 5v5 team fighting team for game 3?
So we sort of had that more split pushy team comp in game 2, but we dropped the Mord because you guys mentioned this during the stream. There was really no one I could ult. 3 people had QSS, Rumble had Hourglass, and I couldn't hit the Yuumi because she's a target.
Yes,
and
in game 2, yeah.
We liked our first bands. We specifically picked them, and we knew that we were going to give the Rumble. And so it basically went to a question of, well, what do I have that's good into Rumble that's not Mordekaiser? And it came down to Kled and Ornn, and Kled can be very snowbally in both directions, particularly if he falls behind. It's very hard for him to catch up. So we decided to go with the Ornn. Part of it was because I was thinking if they go Jarvan again, we ended up being able to ban it, but if they pick the Jarvan, I can headbutt the Cataclysm to try to get people out of it.
That is pre-planning in draft mode, ladies and gentlemen. That's a really nice job. What's up next?
I only have one final question. It's really a big team question, but I'm going to ask you because you're here. What, like, before your first game with Wuat, did you sit down with your team? Did you guys have a strategy? Did you guys do footage? Like, what do you guys do to get prepared for the game before you face a big opponent like Wuat?
So we did sort of sit down and talk about our plans. Me and Ashuri came up with a lot of the ideas for the draft, and it basically began with not so much looking at washed up one tricks games, but looking at our flex games and such that we have been using for practice, and basically figuring out what went wrong, and particularly looking at our bot lane. Like Momentum and Sea of Thieves, I think are probably the best 2v2 in the division, and I know that they can just have a dynamite performance in lane, come out of lane hard carrying, Momentum has the best KD on our team, an absurd number of kills. And so we were like, how do we enable that? And it basically began with, we wanted to ban Morg because because it's very good at denying engages, but we were like, we want to shut down global pressure, which meant Nocturne and Karthus. We were like, we want to stop Washed Up One Tricks from being able to party bot lane and try to keep it to a 2v2 or 3v3. And so that's why we let the Rumble through, because we were like, we thought the Karthus and Nocturne would have too much of an impact across lane, and I felt like I could at least contain the Rumble. So I think it was more figuring out how do we, when I look at the games we win and lose, we win when we're able to play to our strengths, and which is particularly our strong lane matchups. And so it was, how do we make sure that the game plays out in a way that favors our strengths, and how do we draft in a way that lets us execute on what's been most successful for us in the past.
Yeah, I mean, just the amount of pressure you guys are able to put on the map, it just amazes me. I mean, even in the second game when you guys were down, you weren't. You were in there. You were able to bring it up on Mordekaiser. Even when they banned out your Alawi, you were able to pick out Mordekaiser, and you were able to play very good Mordekaiser. And even in the second game and in the third game, you were able to take the win. It was awesome. Beautiful games, all three of them.
Thanks. I'll pass that along to the team.
Thank you, man.
So, once again, congratulations. What have you had a chance to plan ahead a little bit? You don't have to spoils, but going up against the number 1 seed from the Demacian division in Wasted Potential. Now, Team Tempest and Washed Up One Tricks were the only 2 teams to take a game off of the enemy team, and you said your bot lane's your strength. The highest ranked player in the whole league is Zingy, is in that bot lane.
Yeah, so I think we have started planning, and between watching VODs of Washed Up of Wasted Potential's games, some of the discussions they've had like post game, and just sort of watching how they play and what their styles are, we think we have a pretty good sense of how they like to play and how they like to organize their team, and we've started planning how we're going to respond to that, what our pick ban decisions are going to be, that kind of thing.
Super.
I've been instructed not to give away our strats.
Oh, well, I had to fish.
I would hope not.
I had to go fishing. So, thank you, TTU Phoenix. I just want to say an excellent job in all 3 games. Not only yourself, but your team did a really good job in a highlighting series. And a good job by Wuat. I know you guys have been around for a long time and put on a really good show. And actually, some shocked to not see you in the finals yet again, as the team that won the Ionian division last season has actually gone down here in the semis to Team Tempest. So thank you, TTU Phoenix. And Gravia, do you have anything to add before we send her off for the night?
No, I just, thank you for coming on and talking to us, and just congratulate your team on our behalf, and congratulations, man. You guys really do deserve it.
Thanks. I'll pass that along. Thanks for having me on.
Nah, not a problem. Thank you, man, and we will catch you next time. So there
See you
is
in the finals.
more playoff action for Casual Esports coming up all this week. I know that we have at least one match on Wednesday, another match coming up on Thursday, and then we have finals for not only this Ionian division, but don't forget Shurima is going to be played out there, Noxian and Demacian, and anyone else coming out. And don't forget to watch Worlds as well. And Season 10 is just coming. And oh my gosh, so much stuff going on with League right now.
I know.
Be a part of the community. Stick around. We have plenty of stuff coming up for preseason as well. So check out our Twitch. Obviously, you're here. Don't forget to go to YouTube, where all the VODs will be posted. And I think that's going to be it for the night. So just thank you, everyone. And Garivia, go ahead and sign yourself off.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Of course, this was my first time casting. I appreciate you guys tuning in to hear me cast for the first time, and I hope to be doing it a lot more with Casual EAL. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, I know I enjoyed myself. Hopefully you all did as well. So have a good night, everyone.
What